Hello, Cubs fans, and welcome to a brand new edition of Cubs on Tap. This is the watch along. We're back. We're excited to be back on these things. You all know who I am. I'm tired of yelling and screaming about who I am. I'm joined by Nick, and on perfect timing, I am joined by the Juice Man. Gentlemen, what's up, dudes? How are you guys? Happy Tuesday.
Doing well.
What are you doing already, Juice? Already banging on shit, breaking things. He's got to plug things in. It's beautiful. We're already off to a hot start, just like the Cubs are, because Nico's already hurt.
Hello.
Start this game. Hello.
Yikes.
Yeah, I'll be enjoying my root beer and bourbons this evening.
So
We didn't have
Nico's
enough injuries.
so Nico's dead now.
Nico's dead now. Yeah. The latest Cub to die. Which means, Juice, your favorite player and my dinger pick for the night, it's first tonight. Patrick Wisdom's leading this thing off.
Yeah, who the hell cares?
And Stolen Breezing said a little bit earlier before we got started, the hapless Cubs. No Ian Happ in the lineup tonight. No Michael Busch in the lineup. They're going against lefty Chris Sale. And in addition to that, now Nico's out. Shit can this training staff. I don't know if it's necessarily the training staff's fault. I just think these guys are all made of fiberglass as Wisdom gets struck out with the high heat. So,
Shocker.
Yep.
fun and dandy.
Yep.
But dudes, what's up? We got a ton of things that we've been chatting about on the side that I know we're going to be discussed here on this live stream here tonight. But overall, boys, I mean, what's going on in your lives? It's been a while since I've seen either one of you.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. Just been working, watching Cubs baseball. It's been fun. It's been kind of torturous with the injuries, though.
Ain't that the damn truth? Too many injuries, to say the least. I know Juice has been cranking and rolling and loving life and doing a bunch of different things. Juice, I saw you fairly recently. I got to see you for the beautiful walk-off homer not too long ago.
You're on
Juice,
mute.
you're muted, brother.
Yeah, and then I was in Wrigleyville on Saturday.
So we heard.
Fun. That was fun.
Did you get after it with the hashtag Kraken movement?
Maybe a little too much.
Oh, that
Yeah.
good, huh?
Yeah, Mother's Day was not fun. Mother was not too happy. But it was fun. It's a good time. It was my girlfriend's 30th birthday, so we threw a
happy
surprise
birthday.
party.
Nice.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Yeah. And I don't know how much longer my hat will be on today.
Why? Just not feeling good?
Nope, not feeling it.
Just like these Cubs right now? Just not.
Well, Chris Sale, if he's going to continue to do this, I may throw the hat by the end of it.
That's fair. Yeah, Suzuki goes down on the second one here. In case you're just joining us and you haven't been able to switch over to the Cubs broadcast yet, Tyler will be joining us at some point here in this live stream. Joey may or may not. He does have other hashtag duties here at OnTap Sportsnet that he will be fulfilling this evening over on the golf side of things. If you like golf, go check them out. I think it's going to be the betting show for the week. So if you're a degenerate gambler and you like to bet on the sport of golf, no better people in the world to go talk to than Mr. Joey Riccona and Mr. Jack Bushman. So you guys can go check them out here on the YouTube channel. Still, it says, how bad is Lovelady to be DFA'd as the lone lefty?
Yeah, you really got to try to do that.
You really do.
Pretty bad.
I think that also means, though, that Drew Smiley's pretty close to being back.
Yeah, well, right. He threw a bullpen, right?
Yeah, he and Wicks both threw bullpens. Belly's on base with a single.
We won't get no hit, so that's nice.
There goes the no-hitter. Damn it.
There we go.
Yeah, man. I must say, I don't know. I'm not terribly surprised that Lovelady was the DFA. I originally thought it. I suggested this in our group chat. I'm probably going to get a lot of heat for this one. I thought it was potentially going to be Keegan.
I understood your thought process more than that, though, because there's. I took it as Ben Brown, Drew Smiley, eventually Hayden Wisniewski. Like, you got a bunch of those guys who can go three.
Yeah.
So now it's almost like we need more guys who can go one. Like it's not talked enough. They missed Julian Merriweather so bad. Like
They really
his bullpen arm, a guy who could just throw 100 and have that nasty like breaking stuff is just so. And of course, Morel gets hit in the same spot.
Stop
He's
hitting
gotten hit,
Christopher!
like all week.
Stop hitting the poor kid. Jesus
Dude.
Christ.
Dude, did Craig Counsell buy a house in Chicago like on an Indian burial ground or something? Like
Oh my God, maybe.
that's literally on the same
That's what it
spot
feels
that he
like.
got hit.
I mean,
It's the
I do
exact
know.
same vibe.
I do know if he bought a house in Lincoln Park, there's a lot of haunted land in Lincoln Park. So
Watch now he's
You might be onto
probably come
something,
out of it.
Juice.
you might be onto something. Truly,
This is just
Really
starting to
too.
get like ridiculous.
I mean, yeah.
this team just cannot stay healthy. But I'll tell you what, people that were clamoring for the youth to play, guess who's gonna play when all these guys are on the fucking IL?
Also,
Yeah.
Christopher Morel is like just one tough MFer.
He is a tough
He
son of a
is.
bitch.
Like
He is a tough son of a bitch.
if you've watched enough Cubs games and don't love him by now,
Right out of the same though.
And
it's
you're
the
crazy.
same spot. Literally the same spot.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Poor guy. Yeah, he's a tough SOB. I thought on Saturday after he jammed his knee sliding into second that he was going to be done. And then seeing him in the lineup the next day, I was like, oh, thank God. That was like the best news possible out of all of that. Especially after watching him like try to get up and make a play and like hobble. I'm like,
Yeah.
he has a sprained knee. Like, and yet he's still out there.
The best thing that could happen right now is Tachman just unloads on a 3-run homer. That way he can just trot around the bases. Because he's not
Yeah,
on
don't
the
make him
field
run.
tonight, right? After
No,
all
he's
the
DH.
changes.
He's DHing tonight. He was DHing regardless. But yeah. He's in the DH spot this evening. So, but yeah,
By the
man.
way, shameless plug. I know we're not sponsored. Kirkland Sparkling Waters. 0 calorie. So
Nice.
good.
So good.
Does not taste like sparkling water.
I will say, big fan of the Kirkland brand products. I was just at Costco yesterday myself, so hunting around for groceries and shit. Uh-oh, Juice, your mic went out. I don't know what happened, my guy. Technical difficulties, health difficulties with the Cubs.
How about now?
Now we can hear you. I think you're onto something, like Nick said, with this Craig Counsell burial ground nonsense. Because like we're having issues, the Cubs are having issues. It's a whole big shitstorm right now.
I only get issues when I bring it out here because I think I like knock it. I just
That's
don't
fair.
want to watch the game in my office. It's not comfortable.
Oh, that's why you got to get a nice chair, like
No,
Nick and
it's-
I got. Look at what Nick and I got. Like, come on, man.
My biggest problem is if I had all the bells and whistles in an office,
You would never
is
leave.
that I would never leave.
That
It's
happens.
like I want to
Welcome to my
spend
world.
the least amount of time in my office.
Welcome to my world. This is my second home, and in this apartment, it literally is my second home because this is my closet in here with all my clothes and shit. So I have to come in here no matter what.
Honestly, why would you ever leave it?
There's no bathroom, there's no fridge,
Well, bathroom we could make.
and Katie would hate me, absolutely
Yeah.
hate me. So
So I was thinking we did trivia the other night. Tonight's theme for the watch along
okay.
is Cubs on Tap mailbag.
Ooh.
Any question is fair game.
Any question?
Any question.
Oh boy.
If you don't, you get. If you don't answer the question, you gotta take
You
a
gotta-
drink.
Oh, so this is just gonna be a drinking game essentially.
Well, it could be. To me, I'm just gonna answer every question. I got nothing to hide.
Hey, that's
That's
fair,
fair.
man.
That's great.
But Cubs on Tap mailbag. That's the theme today.
I like that.
I like that too. That's fun. That's always a lot more fun. Stolen says Morel needs more armor.
Just
Yeah.
send him up there in a bubble,
Yeah, just wrap them in bubble.
boy.
like Jake Gyllenhaal. What a great movie, by the way.
Wrap them in bubble wrap. Call it a day.
The Bubble Boy. Seinfeld. Jake Gyllenhaal.
Seinfeld, yep.
We got our first question. I don't even think Darren realized that it's mailbag night. Darren's gonna have fun with this one. I'm fully believing
Yes.
in Darren having fun
And
with the
also
mailbag.
Scott, if he ever gets in here.
Scott will also have fun with the mailbag.
Jeremiah.
I'm scared for Jeremiah's mailbag questions. Darren, for those that are just joining us late, we'll continue to remind people throughout the show as well here. It's mailbag night here at Cubs on Tap. Darren asks, just got home. Game day says Wisdom is leading off. Yeah, he is leading off because Nico was a late scratch. So they had to shuffle around the whole lineup. Mastrobuoni inserts and is playing short tonight. I think that's the only real major difference outside of the predetermined lineup changes, which included Ian Happ being out of the lineup, as is Michael Busch. So Bellinger moves over to first base tonight. PCA's in center, Talkman's in left, Seas in right. Got it, get it, great, good.
Mailbag night. So I mean, we could ask questions to each other too.
That's fair. That's fair.
Sure, yeah.
I like that. I'm trying to like mentally mix them up right now.
Yeah, no, it's the first inning here.
I have a good one for the two of you though, because this is always a fun question. Oh, we already got one. Here we
First,
go.
We got a mailbag.
Stolett's on top of it. He says most disappointing Cubs so far and most impressive Cubs so far.
Got mine.
Go ahead.
Most disappointing for sure, Hap. Most impressive, Shota and Managa.
I think most would answer that way. Probably. I'm gonna go Adbert Alzolay for my most disappointing so far.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
when you take the closer away and you're in and you have to work from the back all the way from it's just everybody gets shuffled around. And it's uncomfortable role after uncomfortable role.
Yeah.
And Ted Williams, Albies gets another hit because Ted Williams gets Cubs. Most impressive. That's hard because I don't think you could pick. I'm going to go a little off. I'm going to go with Craig Counsell because through all of this, he's still got this team. What, a half game out? A game and a half out?
Very nice.
I think it's a half game as of
And
tonight.
I mean, like,
yeah, half game.
Let's compare. This is a good way to continue this question. If David Ross is the manager, what's the Cubs record?
Not 24-17 or whatever it is right now. I can promise you that. 24-18.
I agree.
Sorry.
I think they're under 500.
I think it's an inverse of that. I think it's 18-24.
Yep. I agree.
Truly. Just especially with all the adversity. I don't even think it was like Ross is this horrifically inferior manager. I just think it's incredible credit to Craig Counsell and what he's done just because of the amount of adversity they've already had to deal with. It's not even fucking Memorial Day yet. And they've had almost every major player at least or pretty close to it. I mean, from the jump, you lose your ace on day one. You lose Seiya in the middle of April. You lose Belly less than a week later. You go, I think it was 13 games without both of them in the lineup. Belly comes back. You get a little bit of oomph out of it. And then, get him. Oh, I thought PCA was going to gun Albies at third. That was going to be awesome.
Yeah, I thought so too.
But yeah, man, I tend to agree with you. I quickly, just for the sake of answering the question, so I don't have to drink, even though I'm going to anyway. Most disappointing Cub so far. You know what's my most disappointing Cub so far, gentlemen? I've actually got a different one than both of you.
What is it?
Dansby Swanson.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of went back and forth between.
Like, he's been okay. He's been fine. And I think he was a little banged up and hurt, and he tried to play through it. And I commend him for that. So that's not why I'm saying he's my most disappointing. I just think because he had such a great 2023 with this team and like became kind of that lifeblood and like, the heartbeat of the team in a lot of ways, it just feels like a little bit of that has been missing this year. Not even so much like the play on the field. It's almost like the impact in every other aspect. Shit.
Yeah, that's past him. So he'll probably score 2. Oh no, I forgot Ozuna runs like
Ozuna runs like me on the base pad, so it's only. But then my most impressive, to deviate from your two, because Nick, I agree with you. Shota's been phenomenal. Craig has been phenomenal. I'm honestly going to go with Ben Brown. I think because of what he's been asked to do as a literal, like, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed rookie, between starting games, coming out of the bullpen, being a multi-inning guy, I mean, he's really stepped up, and he's been truly impressive. So Ben Brown's probably my most impressive. To give it some deviation, I would agree. Shota would probably be my answer if we were just, metaphorically gun to the head. You had to answer the question, but to be a little different, I think Ben Brown is right up there, just for different reasons. But Shota's just been purely dominant.
I think Javier Assad too is another one you should probably name.
He was another one that I was considering. It was between him and Brown that were my top two. And honestly, I would make the argument that, until this start now tonight, that Taillon's looked impressive too.
Yeah, I think all the injury guys, you can't sit and like. Look what I found for
that was awesome.
Jameson
Yeah.
There.
Hey, we'll take it. I feel like Travis d'Arnaud just like is the greatest hitting catcher that nobody speaks about.
It'd be nice to have one of those on our team. We get no production out of the catcher position. It's not talked about either.
Jan's hitting 200, and he's the highest batting average of the two between him and Amaya.
Amaya's like 6 for his last 58.
I think he's like $170 for the season. It's bad.
Yeah,
it's bad. Stolen says looks like a long night on tap. I hope it's not. Well, I mean, more time I can bullshit with you guys though. So
get out of this by only allowing 1 run, and that's a win.
Yeah. This is like, and he gets out of it.
To see him.
I mean, this is arguably the best lineup this team's going to see most of the season.
Yeah, actually, it was funny. I was looking at the schedule, coming up, and obviously it's a lot of division, but it's a lot of struggling offenses. I mean, Pittsburgh's kind of struggled.
The
Cardinals have struggled a little bit. They have a hard time pitching too. So and the Reds they're up and down. So.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, I finally started. This is when we do this and are so tuned in so often. Is by like May 8th, I had the whole May schedule like memorized.
Yeah.
In my head, like Katie would ask me, be like, "Oh, like when's your next game that you got tickets to?" And I'd be like, "Well, let's go through it." And I would like name off, like it's a 4-game set here, it's a 3-game set here. They go here, they go here. So I've started doing that now with June. And June is very respectable because they finish out that series with the Reds that they start the last day of May. I'll be in the bleachers that Friday. I can't fucking wait. Katie's actually joining me too for that game. Super excited about that. Then you get an off day. Then it's 2 with the fucking shitbag White Sox at Wrigley. Then you got the 4 in Cincinnati, which was the trip that we, during the offseason, tried to orchestrate with all of us going to Cincy together. So it's that weekend. Then you got another off day. Then they go to Tampa for 3. You're home for the Cardinals for 3. I'll be at least at one of those games, maybe 2 of those games. Then they're home for 3 against the Giants. I'll be at one of those games. Then they're home for 3 against the Mets after an off day. They're out in San Fran for 4. And then they're at Milwaukee for 3 to finish out June. That's probably the easiest their schedule's been so far because May was just so NL Central heavy, and April was a lot of good baseball teams that they saw.
If you want to circle the month that they should run away and hide in this thing, it's August because they play the AL Central. It's a lot of Twins. It's the White Sox.
Yep.
They play the Pirates. There's some bad. I think the Nationals are in that run too.
They got
There's
the
just
Blue
a-
Jays in there. I think it's like the
a
only
lot
respectable
of
team
bad.
they play that whole month.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if they're, which is kind of nice too, because if you're talking about how it sets up from a schedule standpoint, and like with the way the trade deadline works, the Cubs may be the most healthiest right there, and playing their best at that point.
Yeah.
And they'd be adding hopefully, some reinforcements via the trade deadline.
Yeah. Is it crazy to think that, like, given where the Cubs are right now, being, what are they, 6 games above 500 right now?
Mm-hmm.
If they could keep, if you figure if they play slightly above 500 ball all the way until the trade deadline, they'll be just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I think this team knows how to turn it on when they need to. Like, they're just kind of built that way, right? With guys like Swanson, guys like Bellinger. Now these guys that were here for last year's run where they had to turn it on late to get back in the conversation kind of know what it feels like. I mean, like you said, Juice, right? In theory, if you're adding at the deadline, at least something, maybe they don't go huge and get this crazy name, but maybe they add a couple of reasonable names. I mean, and like you said, that's probably when they're going to be their healthiest, just based on how everything's played out. So,
and like you'll be playing teams too that are probably going to be trading from their major league roster as well. So, I mean,
100%.
those teams, too, that are in that stretch are going to be worse than they're playing right now. I mean, can you imagine a White Sox team during that time? I mean, you may be looking at 3 or 4 of those guys gone
100%
from that team.
I would argue more than that, even.
Yeah, no, I mean, if they're
more.
smart, but who knows?
Hey, Michael Kopech might be a Chicago Cub by the time that series rolls around. You never know.
Yeah.
Could happen. Darren had a comment about Jan a little bit earlier here. He says, I think Jan just needs to play more to get into rhythm at the plate. Maybe. I mean, last year he played probably the most games he's played in a long time, and I think that helped some of that rhythm and helped him having one of his better offensive seasons in really his career, if you look at the numbers. But we got another question here, gentlemen.
Real quick, too, to Jan. He's 38. Father times undefeated.
Father time is undefeated. What do we think of Tyson Miller? Stolet says he sees that his stats are good, but how good can he be if he's been used sparingly?
You want to take that one, Nick?
Yeah. I want to hear what Nick has to say about Mr. Tyson Miller.
Tyson Miller. Well, I think that a guy that, gets DFA'd, you're immediately going to go, why are you doing this? But it's such a difficult position to have a bullpen like this where you have nothing. So it's almost like a move where you're seeing, will something stick here to the wall is how I feel. So, he's not going to be a guy that you're going to come in and see, oh, he's lights out. He's just awesome. I just think it's a necessary move. Like they had to do it. I feel like you had to do something because you can feel this bullpen's confidence just tanking. They have to get some holds in there. So I think it's just a move that they ultimately had to do. But I liked Tyson Miller. I understood why he was DFA'd at the same time. So it's like, it's just something I think they had to do.
I was going to say, being in Seattle, that's just a good pitching staff. Like he was just kind of the odd man out, unfortunately. It wasn't that he was pitching poorly by any means.
Yeah.
He's extremely good against right-handed pitching. And
something that Jed said today in his interview on the radio.
Yes. And Joey, too, even said it. I thought that was interesting. He's in like the 95th percentile for extension. So he does have a funky windup. It's something that you don't pick up the ball as easy. So maybe they see that they can tweak a few things and make him, better than he already is kind of pitching. And that's Nick, you said it right, too. A lot of times you just need active arms. Yeah. Guys that are going to pick up the ball and be healthy. And if you look up and down this set lineup for the last couple months and you look at this bullpen, you can make the argument that like none of them have stayed healthy in their tenure here either. Like Julian Merriweather has shown the ability to hit the IL pretty often.
Yeah.
Edward Alzolay was hurt at the end of last year. Now he's hurt again. Whiter, another one that It's just about having all the vessels for bullets that you can, and they're going to ride him as long as they can. I'm not super excited about it. I'm not going to sit here and say that I think he's going to revolutionize the bullpen, but it's going to be nice to see something other than the same song and dance we've seen over and over.
It's a good point.
Yeah. Well, I think too with Miller. So I have benefit of doing all the research today. I wrote up the news article about the trade last night. And then I wrote a piece earlier today about what are the Cubs getting in Tyson Miller. I dove into his baseball savant because Joey inspired me when he mentioned the extension. He is very much in the top percentiles of extension. He's also got a hell of a whiff rate on that slider. And again, sparing usage so far this season. I mean, he's only thrown, I think it's 185 total pitches this year. But he gets a lot of chase. He has a very soft fastball. It's in some of the lowest percentile in MLB in terms of his average.
90.
He only throws about 90 on the fastball. But you mentioned the funky delivery. Juice, you kind of mentioned it last night when we were all discussing this about kind of the comparison to a guy like Yancy Almonte in the sense of, the big extension. He's a fastball. Almonte is more of a sink sweep guy with that cutter now.
Throws harder.
Yeah, and he throws harder, but now he's also got that cutter introduced as well, according to Baseball Savant. Whereas Miller is exclusively four-seam slide ball. He's thrown literally one curveball. He's thrown one, I think, sinker and one changeup all season. That's it. That's his bread and butter is the fastball slider. But because of that chase rate he gets on the slider and the big bend, and he kills righties. It's kind of nice having a right-handed guy that can come in and kill righties. It's like Mark Leiter Jr., right, with the reverse splits. He's really good against lefties because of that splitter, because it fades away from lefties and sinks so much. So I think, again, this is a low-risk move. Yes, was Jake Slaughter putting together a nice little minor league, kind of resume over the last couple seasons? Sure. He had two really good years in 22 and 23. He was off to a really strong start this year. But let's just be honest. He's a first baseman, and he's blocked. He's blocked by Michael Busch. He's blocked by, you could make the argument of Patrick Wisdom. He's blocked by Matt Mervis. Hell, he might even be blocked by Hayden McGeary for all we know. There's a lot of first base depth, or at least enough where they could say, hey, let's go give this kid a fresh change of scenery. Maybe he does well in Seattle. That was a nice play by Mastrobuoni at shortstop, by the way. I know Nick can confirm. I was talking mad shit about Mastrobuoni pre us going live. That was hot. More of that, please. More of that. That was awesome. But I think with Miller, again, it's just – and the familiarity, I think that's the nice thing in this situation for the Cubs because it's not just the organization knowing him. Obviously, for those that don't realize, Miller was a fourth-round pick by the Cubs in 2016. He debuted with the team in 2020. He made 2 appearances in the shortened season. One of those was a start. And – he was DFA'd in 2021. He caught on with the Rangers and then spent the rest of 21 and some of 22 or in all of 22 with the Texas organization. And in 2023, he bounced around 3 teams, one of them being the formerly Craig Counsell-led Milwaukee Brewers. So Craig has at least a little bit of an understanding of what he is as a pitcher. The front office does because Jed was there when they drafted him. Sometimes that familiarity is a good thing because they can already preconceive, we already know what he's good and not good at. Let's throw that in the pitch lab, give him the suggestions we need to give him. And again, he doesn't need to come in and be the closer. But if he comes in and he's a reliable 7th inning guy, if you have a 2 or 3 run lead, that's all you need him to be. Because this bullpen is just that beat up right now, both from a performance standpoint and a health standpoint, that he could come in and make some difference. So I like the move. Again, it's super low risk. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work out, and you took a flyer on a guy. And I think, Nick, you said it perfectly, right? It's just the situation. And again, yes, he was DFA'd, but Nick, like you said, right? You understood why he was DFA'd. The Mariners just have a really good pitching staff. He was just the odd man out. A 3.09 ERA is very respectable in a bullpen role. Ironically, he did give up a home run to the Chicago Cubs. I do believe it was a Michael Busch homer. Ironically, when I was doing some research. I think it's the only long ball he's given up this year, too.
I think you're right. I think I remember that one.
Yeah. That's the picture on the second article. So I encourage everybody to go look. I found that one today. That one was fun. But I like the Tyson Miller ad. This was on my list of things for us to talk about here tonight as well. So really, really happy that we were able to get to this one. So thank you, Stoll. I appreciate that. A couple more comments coming in. Brandon B saying this sucks. He follows that up saying Suzuki is counting down the hours until they can leave Atlanta. Maybe he's had a rough
He's
start
got
to
some
this
bad
series.
memories in Atlanta.
And just bad luck in this series so
Yeah.
far. We've talked about it in last night's game as a group that just like hard hit balls at everybody. Like there's nothing you can do about that when guys are just getting the ball, put right in their face effectively. Still, it also says need Miller to not be Adbert Thompson Brewer. I kind of like Colton Brewer. I don't know about y'all. Like he hasn't been that bad. I think a lot of people are shitting on Brewer for no reason, but like he's
okay.
Love Lady put him in a shit spot in Pittsburgh. For him to only give
Yeah.
up a sack fly was something.
Yeah, that was.
And he's been a guy that can come in and give them 2 when they need somebody just to keep them in a game if they're down 1 or 2. And sometimes that guy's just as important as the high leverage guy too,
Sure.
because it's a different situation that you're pitching in. So
Listen, if you can get, I don't care if you throw
Outs.
Ethis and left-handed. If you get outs in this bullpen, we will find a spot for you.
hell yeah.
Like,
Nick,
at
how's
this
your
point,
arm?
man,
I think I can get in there, do a little
It's-
bit better. They just need arms. They
I
just
will
need
say
fresh
this, though.
arms.
I have a working theory that I want to debut here tonight. And my working theory is this bullpen is going to look so much better in a playoff series than it does in a regular season. Like this bullpen is not built for 162. It's built for like those short
It's built for
spurts,
October. Yep.
which I mean, just get there and I mean, can you imagine like you're only going to have to use 3 guys? So Steele,
Maybe 4.
with the off days, I think you can get by with 3. A lot of teams do use 4, but you can, if you wanted to, you could put both Wicks and Assad in the bullpen and have your lefty specialist at that point, and a guy you can go 3, and Wisniewski and Ben Brown.
Yeah.
And then hopefully by then you figured out your back half.
Merriweather.
Yeah,
Neris.
You're fine.
Almonte.
And that's why,
Yeah,
like,
that's
everyone's like,
gross.
oh, they need a whole new bullpen at the deadline. It's like, no, they really, if they can get one guy back,
Yeah.
that if it's not Merriweather, Adbert, I don't know, maybe like a Luke Little comes up and cements himself. Like, if they can get one of those and then add just a tail end guy, everything else is going to look so much easier.
Yeah. I honestly too, like that's the crazy part, right? Like imagine if they went out and got like 2, again, not necessarily elite, but solid bullpen arms at the deadline or even before then. Like if the price is right, because like I fully believe that the trade for Arias just made sense for San Diego because they are always aggressive in terms of being willing to move prospects. That's just AJ Preller.
Mm-hmm.
So, like that trade came because they needed another bat. They wanted another guy in there. They got him. Great, good, whatever. But like, I bet you right now, Jed called the Marlins about some of those bullpen arms, and their price is just way too high for what he's willing to pay. But he's just got to outweight them. That's all it is at this point. It's not if, it's when. Because, and even outside of Scott, right? I know Scott is the quote unquote kind of well-known name of the group, but like Declan Cronin, Calvin Foucher, you got the lefty Andrew Nardi in there. Like there's a couple of really good guys in that bullpen that like they have the stuff that the Cubs front office loves and could be real again for the right price. Really, really nice additions, I think, out of this pack, truly. It could be good to see. Our friend, Mr. Kevin, over from the Diggers podcast. Sup, fellas? Hello, Mr. Kevin. How are you, Mr. Keneally?
Sup,
How are you?
Kevin?
Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Brandon B asks, who is handling lefties in late innings right now? Since Love Lady is no longer loved by the ladies.
If it's not Bryce Harper, they're just going to throw a righty out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
or
Mark Leiter Jr.
or Leiter. I
It's
mean,
Leiter.
but
Yeah.
It's later.
I think I don't know. This is just my, and we've talked about this on this show a million times. I'm not a righty lefty guy. I think if you could pitch, you get outs. You know, I mean, unless you're throwing Adbert out there and he gets hammered by all lefties.
Then he gets hurt. Because that's all fun. Darren says, or get a stud starter at the deadline and put planned juice in the action.
Another thing I wouldn't hate.
Yeah, that would be crazy if they got a starter at the deadline. But like who? Okay, let's go down a rabbit hole. We like rabbit holes here. It comes on tap.
We got plenty of time to do it.
Yeah, we do. Who's a starter that you would want them to target at the deadline? I want to hear both of your guys' opinions on this. And you guys can mull it over for a little bit. This doesn't have to be like give me an answer right now.
Are the Marlins full selling?
If they traded Arias, they got
They got three of them. I wouldn't mind at that point.
I would say Luzardo would be the first one that.
Well, yeah, that's the.
He's the big, obviously the big flashy name probably of the group. Miami. Do we think it's actually MiamiMarlins.com or do we think it? Oh nope, that's not secure. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I mean, we got to look at like. To me, I don't think that. Like I don't like the Garrett Crochet idea because by that point he's going to be at the most amount of innings that he's ever been at in his life.
Agreed.
It's just a recipe for him to
Disaster.
be just a disaster.
Yep.
I mean, you got to go around the league.
Braxton Garrett would be nice.
Colorado really doesn't have a lot of names that from the starting that are like, yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Colorado, stay away.
Although who's that one cat? Fuck, he's on my fantasy team. Let me look this up real quick. He for Colorado standards has been good.
Which,
I know that's not saying much, but like
it's like the reason they signed Tyler Chatwood.
Exactly. Where is he? He's in here somewhere. Oh, I dropped him, didn't I? Son of a bitch. We gotta really dive into this one here. Filters, availability. I don't care if he's available or not. I just need to know because he needs to be on the roster of the Rockies. Apply filters. Here we go. Pitchers.
Yeah.
Ryan Feltner, that guy. That's what I was looking for. I mean, he's got a 5.20 ERA, but like, I don't know. He gives you innings. And he probably wouldn't cost much. Like,
you're not making that trade to move. Like, it's got to be top of the rotation at that point.
Yeah, I mean, the only guy that's quote unquote top of the rotation out there that I would really want is Cal Quantrill.
Oh. He trapped that.
Yep. Oh, and he's out.
Yeah, he's out.
Fuck!
Yeah, nothing you could do there.
No. That shit
Just
sucks.
the whole plays in front of him.
I thought he might have a chance because it's PCA
It is,
speed.
yeah.
But
He just didn't read it very well.
Well, and it's hard to see that ball because it squirts out behind Acuna.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
If it squirts out in front of him with PCA speed, I think he gets into second just fine.
Oh yeah, but you can't tell if it's by him. Yep.
Yeah, here we're gonna see the replay. He's watching. See, he's
Jeez,
already
okay.
retreating.
Yeah. Oh, and he slipped.
Yeah, and he slipped. My dad's screaming at the television. We went through this when it was who was it that got picked off at second in one of the games? I think it was Madrigal. And he's like, why are these guys all starting to retreat before the ball's caught? He goes, I know these guys all have great arms, but like they're all fast enough to get back to first base in time. Stay in the middle because if that ball drops, you give yourself a better chance to go to second.
Yeah.
I go to my dad for all like the real like coaching critique stuff because he actually played ball, and I didn't play for baseball for shit. Like I didn't even play t-ball. Whereas like my dad, I didn't even play t-ball. Fun fact, I did not even play t-ball. I was a big football guy growing up, so like I never played baseball. I got into baseball much later in life than most people do, I feel like. But my dad, on the flip side, for those that don't know, my dad was offered a D1 scholarship to Arizona State to play baseball. So, like, my dad was a real good ball player. His primary position was catcher. But he played everywhere. He played all the infield spots. He played the corner outfield spots. He played a little center. Like he could do pretty much everything except pitch. And even pitching, I think he pitched a little bit in high school. So like, he was a good ball player. So again, if I need like a hey, if it's like a hey, I need like a coach's perspective.
Yeah,
he's the guy I go to. Where I'm like, what would you do in this situation as a player? Like, talk me through it. My dad, Brandon B asks, can your dad pitch? Probably not anymore. Sorry, Dad. I don't think he can pitch anymore. If he pitches, he might blow his back out for the next 6 months. Still, it says Mason Miller in a Cubs uniform. What does it take to get him?
A
lot.
Top 10 prospect, a top 15, and probably 2 top 30s.
So, fun fact, I don't think it takes that much.
Isn't he under control for like 3 years?
He is, but I saw per Ken Rosenthal that there was a reported deal out there that, like, if they were willing to do what they would have, it would have been it was 2 top 100 guys, which is still a lot.
Yeah.
But it was like the 30th and the 64th prospect in baseball. So,
I mean, that's pretty much what I said. Because I meant top 10 in your organization.
No, I know. But I'm just saying, I don't think you need 3 guys. I think you get away with 2. Realistically, I think it takes, looking at this right now, like it probably takes, this is gonna taste like vinegar coming out of my mouth. It takes Matt Shaw and either Kevin Alcantara or Moises Ballesteros.
If you could work a trade where it's Moises Ballesteros, you do it. But don't touch Shaw or Alcantara. I'm one of, as you know, as the leader of the fan club. I can't have him on any other team.
Yeah. Those guys, especially at least with Shaw, he's been in the organization for such a little amount of time. I'm not ready to just like hand him off.
Why don't they just include Triantos in that deal instead?
See, I've been between a rock and a hard place with Triantos, and not in a bad way. I feel like everybody's just so like, just give him Triantos. It's like, but this kid's fucking raking, and he's like not even 20 years old yet.
Yeah, but where's he gonna play?
Figure that out later. If he can hit, he can hit.
Later may come, and you're looking around the diamond, and there's nowhere to put him.
Yeah, but then that's when his value's at an all-time high.
If I trade Triantos.
So what would you do?
Because he's getting blocked by Shaw, and I like Jefferson Rojas more than I like Triantos.
So would you do
you don't want to
Triantos and Ballesteros?
What's that?
Triantos and Ballesteros?
That would be my start.
Okay.
Because I'm probably not going to have a spot on this team for Ballesteros unless he's DHing every day.
Yeah,
which Council doesn't like to do that. Council likes to work the DH around. He's got
a DH every day, unless he like could be an okay defensive first baseman. That's like best case scenario. I think about the bat is phenomenal. I just don't know what position he plays in the majors. That's the only concern I have with a guy like Ballesteros. A couple of follow up comments here from Brandon B. He says not Matt Shaw. He says shortstop this week. Triantos this week at shortstop. Interesting. Maybe they're starting to play some of these guys in certain spots to drive up their value.
Every single person is going to forget about James Triantos when they see Jefferson Rojas.
I agree. Jefferson Rojas is the real deal. I mean, he's 19 and he's playing high A ball already?
And he lives like right there.
It's true. And on top of it, I mean, what was the hit streak, Juice? 18 games?
18 games going on 19.
Oh, it's still going.
No. It ended at 19.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because they DH'd.
Crazy. Yeah, I feel like he's the type of player that needs to be like in the field.
And he's so good in the field.
Yeah. I mean, he's climbed into the top 100. For those that didn't see, 2 new additions to the top 100 for the Cubs. They have 8 now. Bush graduates, obviously being a full-time major leaguer, but Ballesteros is number 94 and Rojas is number 98 already. I mean, he is flying up boards right now because of how good he has been in South Bend. And Juice, you have a front seat to him almost every day.
I said the same thing about PCA when he was here. There's certain baseball players that you watch, the way they move, and he moves different.
Who, Barry Bonds?
Jefferson Bonds Rojas.
I like it. Hey, guys.
Hello, Mr. Edmonds. How are you, sir?
Well, the first 3 innings, I was having like a mini panic attack because someone else someone else is possibly hurt. How are you guys?
We're all hurt, yeah. My knees hurt. We're doing okay, man. So you came at almost a beautiful time because Nick, we haven't heard from you yet on this.
Is it something about is it something that I'm seeing in the comments right now about certain people coming to the Cubs?
It is. We've been talking about what would a Mason Miller trade look like. And so we started with discussing the hypothetical that was put out there by Ken Rosenthal, which would be the number 30 and number 64 prospects in all of baseball. And I believe that was from the Guardians, if I remember correctly. So if you translate that to the Cubs, it's realistically some combination of Shaw, Triantos, and Ballesteros is the starting point for that discussion. Is that a trade you would be willing to make?
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't think Mason Miller gets traded this season.
And that was kind of
I don't think so.
I don't think it happens as much as everybody. Now, I did notice, because I'm glad I'm not the only one that had this thought. Stole it breezing. Said Bregman to the Cubs at deadline. Because that got me thinking about the Astros. Are they going to start shopping players before the deadline? Like, I know their owner came out and was like, this is a good team. And on paper, they are a good team. And like, I think Juice, me and you talked about at the game last week. I'm pretty sure we talked about it. We talked about it sometime about their pitching staff. It just goes to show that their pitching staff, they're all out. That's why they're doing so bad, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, they could dig themselves into a hole that they're just like, because Bregman's going to be a free agent. If there's one guy that I know they're probably going to, other than Alvarez, because Alvarez is still on that big deal and they're not going to move him. It would take a freaking mountain to get him. I don't think they would deal a guy like Kyle Tucker either. But Bregman, I had that thought yesterday on the lawnmower on the old Cub Cadet. Is Bregman a potential third? It's an interesting topic because, hey.
I don't think it costs much either.
Probably not, because he's going to be a free agent next year, and he's a good player. But he's also had stretches where I wouldn't say, like, as far as offensively as low as like a Matt, and this is no disrespect to Matt Chapman. He's got a platinum glove, yada yada, great defender, but Bregman has those stretches similar to Matt Chapman where it's like, dude, where's your bat at? But when that guy's hot, he can get hot, and he can get hot. He's a playoff guy too. He's a World Series, 2-time World Series champion. It would be a thought to dazzle around, but at the same time,
to that, before you go around,
go ahead.
You really want to drop the hammer on it. Ask for Framber Valdez in that trade too.
Hey, somebody wrote an article this offseason about Framber being a fit because they talked about that. Wasn't it like a rumor as well? Like he was like a number
Tyler,
two.
I said in the offseason and told you all that he was going to be a Cub.
Okay, I remember somebody talking about that on a show, but like he was like a lot of like MLB and all these other like outlets like saying like he was like one of the top picks for the Cubs to go after this offseason, which was crazy to me to begin with, because I didn't think the Astros would do something like that. But
luxury tax dollars. That's why.
What's his contract look like?
He's making a lot of money, dude. He's making like 20.
Really?
Yeah. Valdez makes a ton of money. For them, it was a matter of there was reports that they were going to try to get under the luxury tax threshold because they've been there for so many years. So that was why those Valdez rumors began in the first place. But Tyler, just to back up what you had to say, and Brandon B says it here too in the comments as a response to this whole Bregman thing. He says Bregman would be nice. He is in the streaky part of his career, and Minute Maid is a hitter-friendly park. So let me back that up real quick with some numbers for you guys. In his last 30 games, this is 119 at-bats. He's got 10 runs scored, 27 total hits, 3 homers, 16 ribbies. That's all good for a 227, 290, 345 slash line, right? Well, in his last 7 games, he's slashing 286, 310, 571 with 2 of those 3 homers, 6 RBI, and 8 hits, including 5 runs scored. So you want to talk about a streaky player. He's hot now.
Yeah.
After a cold start to the season for the Astros.
And it's maybe he gets to a team because right now maybe he's in that. I mean, it's hard. Who knows? Maybe he sees something that a lot of other team that everybody else doesn't. Maybe he sees the writing on the wall and he's just like, man, like we've dug ourselves in a hole. And who knows? Maybe as a new change of scenery for him could turn into just a freaking hot bat second half of the season. Who knows?
The Rangers are going to run away with that division because they're going to get back Scherzer and DeGrom and maybe never lose.
What about Josh? Is Josh
Same
Young?
thing,
Josh Young out for the season, or is he coming back? I know he broke. What did he break his wrist? Like the
Isn't
first.
that like a 4 or 5 month heel?
So if it'd be like at the end of the season. It almost just
It's like a trade deadline acquisition almost.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna and two like I mean look up and down that division. It's
And you look at the Mariners pitching staff. I know their offense hasn't been the greatest, but you look at that freaking 5-headed monster, and you dig deep enough, they may put themselves in a hole where their ownership's just like, yeah, let's trade Bregman. Wouldn't hate it.
Yeah, be interesting to see.
They probably hate the Hader contract right now.
They definitely do. That 19.5 per year and a no trade clause in it as well. Like he's locked in Houston for a while. Again, reminding everybody that might be joining us late. And Tyler, this was something that we've established for the night. It's now mailbag night. People can drop any question, any at all, in the chat, and then we will answer it. And if we don't, as Juice said, it becomes a drinking game, and you have to drink. So again, join us in the comment section. You can join us from X. You can join us from YouTube. You can join us from Facebook. So anywhere that we are streaming,
officially sponsored by Murphy's.
Unofficially, officially, indeed.
By the way, did you notice the pitching matchup for Thursday? You see who's pitching for the Pirates Thursday?
Who is it?
It's Jared Jones.
Oh, that's still a good one.
Skeens is pitching Friday 120 game. Yeah, which goes to show it looks like the Pirates may be doing some form of a 6-man rotation then.
Yeah,
because which is smart.
It's smart for him. I mean, it seems like, it seems like he's going to be like what on a 85-ish pitch limit.
Yeah, he had 84 in game 1.
Yeah.
So yeah, that sounds about right. A couple more comments. Stolit says David Bednar would also be consideration. They wanted PCA last year for Bednar.
Yeah.
And look how bad he's been. He's
Bednar,
yeah. 7 or 8.
But maybe that means they'd be willing to deal him for less, and I think that's where Stolitz trying.
I still don't think within the division.
Yeah, I was fixing to say, could you guys see that?
Premium.
I don't see that happening.
They'd still ask for something stupid.
You know what would be nuts? I mean, if we want to go crazy and talk about in the division trades, this will not happen. But like, what if?
Sonny Gray.
I was going to say Arenado.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say Arenado.
Don't tell Scott from Iowa that, because I think he's been pining for an Arenado trade for the last 3 years.
Wow.
Stolit also
they would
the
never
Blue Jays.
Blue Jays will be sellers. What's so crazy? I mean, okay.
That division is just so tough.
That's a tough division.
It is tough, but like, at least they didn't have the downfall that okay, there was a time. What a pick. There was a time when the Blue Jays, you'd put the Blue Jays and the White Sox in the same, these two teams are in that, 3-4 year window. And it's just like, how crazy is it just how quick stuff can change, even with the Blue
Oh, yeah.
Jays, because but Bichette has been awful. And the only reason I'm saying that is because I don't watch too much Blue Jays baseball, but I do play MLB The Show, even though, by the way, San Diego, you're ruining your game. You're killing your game anyways. But Bichette's already got downgraded to like a low-ish gold, which is crazy though, because that guy didn't he lead all of AL the last 2 seasons in hits?
Did he? He might have.
It was
think he
close.
did.
Something.
Yeah.
And then you've got Vladdy not doing so hot. And you've got after that, who? Springer hasn't been this, which Springer's older. I get that. But after that, who? Dalton Varsho. It kind of now it's okay. But speaking of the Blue Jays, since we're stole it here, talked about Blue Jays being sellers. What about a guy? The Cubs don't need him because they have. I say that, knock on wood, because they have a nice depth of pitching. Jose Barrios or Barrios, or however you say it.
So Tyler, we were talking about like, what if the Cubs went out and got like another starting pitcher, and then they gave you flexibility to move a guy like Javier Assad into a struggling bullpen, and you're not.
I would go for a guy. I'd go for a guy like Barrios. I'd ask. I'd at least call and ask, because that dude, it seems like this season has figured it out. I know last season wasn't so hot. This season before maybe not had been that great, but this season it looks like he's figured something out, and it just sucks that like the Blue Jays. I think do you guys remember what Vladdy said like 2 years ago? Like last season was just the trailer. This season will be the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Tyler, do you believe in the show curse? You think that happened to Vladdy, the cover?
Nick, I'm glad you said that because shit. Well, at least it was a solo bomb. I'm glad you said that because I've had that same. I've been thinking about it, and you know what? Maybe I'll start an article now. I haven't wrote anything on the show in a long time. You could make a good argument, Nick, that's a thing. You can make because look at Jazz Chisholm he was on the cover last year. Blech. Like that interview. Have y'all heard that interview? Not to get off topic super much, but did y'all hear that interview with Jazz Chisholm with
Yes.
I don't think it was Foul Taylor. You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
That
when he talked
interview,
about all the horrible Marlins.
That dude is going nowhere. That interview, in my opinion, basically just sealed his fate in Miami until like he can prove for a few seasons that he can be a team player, a team guy, whatever. But no, Nick, who you got after that? Shohei got hurt. Shohei had Tommy John. Shohei also had the gambling thing, which he supposedly is innocent of, but I'm still going to put it in that category. Javi Baez, we all know. Fernando got busted. Bryce Harper had Tommy John surgery. Who was 2019? 2019. It was the year. 2020 was 2020 was Baez. 19. Aaron Judge was 18, I think.
Bryce Harper was 19.
I thought
19,
it was Bryce Harper.
So then 18, and then 18 was Aaron Judge.
18 was Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
And then 17 was Griffey. Or is that 16?
17 was Griffey with the retro mode.
Yeah. That was the first year.
And Donaldson is 16.
And Donaldson was 16, and then Puig was 15.
Yes.
You could make a case for all, because did Judge, other than Judge, even though Judge did like smash his ankle that one year.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Nick, because I think you could make an argument that the show cover athletes are, at least for the year, kind of cursed. Yeah.
Well, the Madden curse was a thing for forever as well.
Yeah.
For like a good 15-year span, it was a thing.
And it's funny that you bring that up because I was talking to somebody the other day at work that was he's a big Tennessee Titans fan. And we talked about Vince Young. And the only thing I can tell you that I remember about Vince Young in the pros
you mean this?
is he – yeah.
Jesus. You still have that?
That's
So look
crazy.
what
Wow.
I found.
That's
I
the only
found
thing
this-
about Vince Young of the pros is that he was on the Madden cover.
I
That's
found
awesome.
this at my parents'. It's a PSP.
Oh, it's a PSP.
It still works.
Wow.
So
That's
you know what
wonderful.
I've been playing
That's
for like
awesome.
the last 4 days? I've been playing
You've been
MLB 2K7.
No.
Wow. I had that on
That's
Xbox,
awesome.
Xbox
With-
360.
Soriano and Aramis and D. Lee.
Yes.
Cesar
Yeah.
Torres is my
Oh.
shortstop.
Oh,
Wow.
Cesar.
Jock Jones is my right fielder. I got Pryor on the roster, baby, with Big Z. It's awesome. I
That's
traded
awesome.
Ted Lilly and Matt Merton for Carl Crawford. I'm having a great time.
Don't you love how like those old games you can go back and play and like you can basically trade hardly any like just like three Johnny Dickweeds for whoever, like all the all-star
You
players.
can kind of still do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't play the show often, but I play enough to like.
Gentlemen, we've got the first mailbag of the night that's going to make people drink, I think. Flat out.
Oh,
Taylor McGregor.
smash! Like,
Smash.
smash like 17 times over.
Smash, smash.
He's gorgeous.
I'm sorry. I'm married. I've got to pass.
Yeah, I'm not trying to piss off my girlfriend. She watches these shows. I'm going to drink too.
Mine's in the woods right now.
In the woods.
Got a retreat.
Oh,
Oh, retreat.
Yeah, she's got a retreat.
Boog in the booth.
That's
Yes
cool. Like
or
a
no?
so are they like in a cabin or something?
Meaning like smash or pass boot in the booth.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we could just say, "Do you like Boog in the booth?" as the voice of the Cubs.
I could get really in depth on this because I
Please do.
feel I
I
have
want to hear it.
keep
Yeah,
it
let's
very
hear it.
quiet.
Let's hear it,
I
Nick.
keep it very quiet because I don't want to ruffle feathers, but I'll come out and I'll say it.
No,
I'm gonna say
ruffle
Pat.
feathers. Ruffle
You know
them.
why? I freaking love Len Casper. I've always loved him, and I loved the Cubs on WGN. And it's an unpopular opinion, but I hate the way it's gone.
It's
be honest.
out of here.
I miss the voice crack from Len Casper. Cubs win! I just miss that
Okay.
passion. Not
Lynn,
saying Boog's bad though.
Lynn is like the sound of my childhood. Well,
Same.
like when I was in high school, middle school. Chip Carey was the sound of my like elementary days, and I guess close to middle school. But here's the thing about Lynn. That interview that he said that he had, y'all remember that interview he had when he first joined the White Sox? And he's just like, they've got the better shortstop and they've got a lot of things going on right now, that's really like, it's really popping and they've got a brighter future than where I was and blah, 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 blah. Well, look who's laughing now, Lynn.
Oh yeah, he's miserable.
What about,
He has to be looking
okay,
back and
then-
going,
okay,
"What did I do?"
I know you like Lynn. What about Steve Stone?
I miss Steve Stone.
I like Steve Stone.
Steve was-
Although I will
I
say
like-
this, JD
I really
can
liked
do a lot of what Steve Stone does.
I love JD. Yeah,
I really liked
I also
oh,
love JD.
why is my mind gone blank? He does Diamondbacks games now.
Oh, Bob Brindley.
Bob Brindley.
Yeah, Bob Brindley.
like
Bob
Bob
Brindley
Brindley.
was fun. I enjoyed Bob
Yep.
Brindley. I do really like JD. I think he's phenomenal. I've said this for a long time, and you can ask any one of my White Sox friends and even the Sox on Tap guys. I think I've said this to them multiple times too. I like Steve Stone. Like I think he's a good baseball analyst.
Yeah.
Like I just flat out, I think he's very good at describing the game because he understands it and he has that experience. And from a fan perspective, if you want that guy that's going to bring value to the broadcast, he does that. He truly does. Like I think he's a good broadcaster. I said it from the jump when Len went to the White Sox and they still had Benetti. Like if you looked around the country, you could make the argument that Chicago is the best broadcasters of anybody. Between Boog and JD and then Pat and Ron on the radio side, but then you got Len on the radio side for the White Sox when they had Benetti and Stone in the booth. Like, and then you go even to the other sports, right? Like I think Adam Amin's great for the Bulls with Stacy.
Yeah, I love
and,
Adam.
And
Levine.
then Chuck Swirsky on the radio is fantastic as well. You go to the Bears, you got Joniak and Thayer. You go to the Blackhawks, you got Whiteman and Troy on the radio, and for the longest time you had Pat and Eddie in the booth. Like, and now with Darren Pang's great. I know a lot of people don't like Chris Foster's, but like Chicago all around has incredible broadcasters. Like, we are very, very lucky as a city with the
Ron,
broadcasting crew that we
I'm going
have.
to be honest. I've watched next to no hockey. I have no idea who those guys are. Who you just named.
That's tragic, Juice. You need to like go watch some hockey so you can get educated.
I
Guys,
can't
we're,
fit it into my-
We're in a
I
jam
got
right
too
now.
much.
Yeah, this is rough.
This
Yeah,
is
we already
rough.
did.
This is
And
rough.
what's crazy is the last watch along I did with you guys, Miguel Amaya. I mean, I get it. That's a wild pitch right there, but Jesus. Miguel.
Tyler, you're ahead of us, just letting you know. So, but
I'm
thanks
gonna
for the heads
Go
up.
back
I'm
to the
Oh, y'all haven't got
question.
to the like, is it not 3-0 right now?
Oh, it's 3-0.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
Sorry.
3-0, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't looking that way. My bad.
Oh, here we go.
I'm gonna go
All
back.
right.
He's really lost. Tyone has lost all command.
I'll pass
I
on.
agree.
Hey, Boner just had a nice play.
Boner has had a nice play. Boner's had a couple of nice plays tonight.
Yes.
That was a nice play. He hot take. Miles Mastrobuoni's best position is shortstop. Because I feel like anytime he ever plays there, he looks like such a natural.
He's like a who was the
He's
lefty? Was it
Never gonna play
Coughlin?
there.
Chris Coughlin? Wasn't he like a middle infielder for a little bit? Lefty.
He was a second baseman. He
Second
never really
baseman
played
more?
short, but he played second for a little while. He was like a second/outfielder.
I got you.
He's the next DFA guy. Call it right now.
Mastro. I don't think they have to DFA him, do they?
To pull him off the 40 man, they do.
Do you guys see? Okay, you're going to see it here in a second. I'm sorry. How weird is it? Ozzy Albies, like, watch where he puts his hand on the bat. Like, he has his
Yeah.
pinky hanging off the knob. That's so
It's
weird.
That
it's
is weird.
almost like oh, what am I looking for? It's
That's so.
can't
I
even
just
think
like
about what I'm trying to like put together.
That is
right
so
now.
weird. He like curls it right under the
Yeah,
knob.
he like
it just
curls it.
hangs off.
It's
Like,
like
I'd
you
be-
know what it is? It's like when people either hold their drinks like that, or when you
Yeah.
hold your phone with your pinky.
Yeah.
It's like
It's just
that
weird.
with the
It just-
bat.
I feel like that would feel so weird.
I feel like
That
I'd have
is
so many
That
bats.
probably hurt
Like,
too if you don't hit the
launched-
sweet spot.
Oh yeah, that probably like yeah, that's a good point, Ron. That probably hurts on a cold night if you get right on the bat. Oh,
Dude, he could probably
Feel
go
that.
up there with no bat and get a hit against the Cubs.
sadly, Juice, you are probably right.
He's fucking Ted Williams every time.
Yeah. I think I think okay, who's gonna be the not to be all Bravesy or whatever, but I think he's gonna be the better Brave between him and Ronald Acuna.
Who?
I think he's Ozzy
Ozzy?
Albies. I think he's gonna be more I think he's just gonna
that's
be more
a hot take.
I think he's
That
going to
is
be
a
more consistent. I think he's going to put up more consistent numbers. I just and overall, Albie's just. If I had to pick one player to be like the leader in my clubhouse between them two, I'm picking Albies. And that's no knock on Acuna. Maybe it is. I feel like Albie's just he seems more mature than Acuna. Acuna may be the better player right now, but I just think over time, I think Albies is going to. I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be better.
I
Call me
respect it.
crazy. Which he's another one that had like one of them stupid crazy contracts.
I could see
Yeah.
that being a thing, Tyler. He's got
And I don't want to see anybody get hurt, but like Acuna, he also has that he has that style of play. You know what? He kind of reminds me of Manny Ramirez.
I can
Acuna,
see it. That's a good
in the
comp.
sense that like there's days where you watch Manny and you're just like, does he even care?
Mhm.
Is
Yeah.
he even trying?
That's fair.
And it's like if he was trying it, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not trying to say I know what he's thinking or oh yeah, he's definitely not trying or he is, but like you know what I mean? Like there's times I watch Acuna, the last 2 games coming into the night, he got picked off 3 times, and then there's times you'll see him in the outfield like catching a ball, and it's so nonchalant. Or like a few seasons ago in the playoffs. You remember in the playoffs? I'm pretty sure when Donaldson was still there. Oh my gosh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Okay, it's just an RBI. Which, on a side note, I don't think his RBI should count.
Oh, yeah, okay. Fair.
Ozuna's RBI shouldn't count because you punch your wife.
I mean, that ball was like 6 feet away from being a home run.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but yeah, back to it. Just like there's times where like Acuna, like that time in the playoffs, where like he pimped that fly ball that should have been like a double, and he got a single out of it, and like they were just get like afterwards, like I think Donaldson was like, yeah, we addressed it in the clubhouse and blah blah blah. But it's like I don't know, he just does that stuff where like Albies doesn't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think you're right, Tyler. The more I think about it, it's a maturity level.
It is.
Yeah, Ozzy Albies is very, very mature. You could tell, and like consistency wise, I could see your argument over
Like,
time. He's gonna do the things to stay relevant. And
Like we were talking about Jazz Chisholm earlier. Jazz Chisholm could use a season with Ozzy Albies.
Jazz.
But I don't know. And of course, you got Matt Olson up here. He's finally decided to hit in this series because he hasn't been,
He hasn't all season.
He's been
You guys-
poo-poo also.
You guys think that Atlanta's going to win the World Series?
No.
No, I think the Phillies are going to take them over. It wouldn't shock me if the Phillies won that division.
I think the Cubs are winning the World Series, Juice.
Yeah, Juice.
Yeah.
It's early enough.
But
They're
I
in the
know.
hunt. They have
Yeah.
like almost the
I
same
know.
record that the freaking Braves do.
I think
Yeah.
a better
Well-
bullpen, we'd be at 28 wins.
That
Yeah.
one's gone, boys.
With a better bullpen, I think the Cubs would be closer. Would be at 30
Did you
wins.
see Gone? Olsen gone?
Yeah, Olsen decided to hit this season or hit this series.
Oh,
I'm delayed too.
yeah.
How delayed are you guys? Because he's trotting around third base right now.
He just
Pretty
trotted
low.
around first.
First.
on my-
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
my
first.
broadcast.
Yep.
Boy, he
Cubs
crushed
have
that.
scored
Touchdown.
7 runs all this week. So
Yeah, the bats are
crushed
gonna have to miraculously just.
They need to take all of their bats after this game, put them in like a big burn barrel, and just burn them all and get new.
I agree.
I mean, this. Yeah.
I say, fuck Joe Boo. I do it myself.
I'm
You know
glad.
what's funny?
I was going to say they need to call Pedro and have him come over there and do some type of,
I'm about to text my cousin. So for those that don't know, my cousin lives in Atlanta. He's a diehard Braves fan. He loves the Bears though, because he says fuck the Falcons. His dad's originally from Chicago.
Mhm.
But Brandon B says it's time to go play him with the show. We'll see you later. Thanks for joining us, Brandon.
He'll be back. That
Right,
game.
Brandon.
He'll
Yeah,
be
hey,
back.
come. You can still
He'll be
keep this
back.
on and play
That
him
game
on
will
the show. Just
it'll
listen.
piss you off. You'll be playing it. It'll piss you off. Something stupid will happen. You're like, I'm done playing.
We're going to talk about fun baseball stuff soon.
They're going to talk about phones or something. But my cousin literally just bitched to me like 2 days ago about how trash Matt Olson's been. I'm about to yell at him right now.
Trust me, he'll hit.
Yeah.
He'll end the season with 30
It's
home
funny.
runs and
You,
100
it's
batting.
funny you say you're
I already
talking about
hit
your
him
cousin.
with
One of
40 somehow.
my really good friends is a Braves fan, and I'm waiting for. Well, there's a lot of people in my area that are Braves fans because we're not super far from Atlanta. But
Yeah, you're really not.
one of them is I know he's going to text me either tonight or tomorrow. I know it's coming. Haven't talked to him in a couple months, and he's going to text me. He's going to tell, oh, what about them Braves, man? I'm like, whatever, man. Whatever. I will say, just speaking of the Braves, Braves fans. Maybe not lately, but years ago, Braves fans around here were almost as bad as Yankees fans with the whole 27 rings. You'd hear
Oh, for sure.
Yankees fans, it was 27 rings.
Straight NL East.
And it's like cool. It's like
Didn't win shit.
you went to the party, but you left like 20 minutes in most
Yeah,
of the
you-
time.
And you won one World Series.
It's like
in the 90s.
It's like you
I
went.
mean,
It's like you went to prom 18 times and you only brought the girl home once. Cool.
Dude,
Your
Jared-
batting average sucks.
if you go to
Jared
prom 18
Kelly.
times, I think that's like jailing offense.
That's
by the
prison.
way.
Yeah. Straight to jail.
Oh man.
Boy.
Dude,
Oh,
Jared
boy.
Kelenic bats 8th in their lineup.
How's he? Hey, Juice. How's he doing this season so
He's been
far?
okay. He's not
Because I've
great.
heard like potential rumors of the Braves possibly shopping him.
Already?
Yeah,
You just got
yeah,
They literally just got him.
yeah.
I mean,
I don't know how true it is, but like I just seen a couple things on
What the
X
hell did
and-
Seattle get for him again? Because didn't White also go to Atlanta initially in that trade as well to just get bought out effectively? Or get flipped somewhere else for pennies on the dollar because Atlanta's just paying the salary?
That was a 3-team trade, wasn't it?
Was it?
he has an OPS at 270.
Like why do
or
I
721,
feel
so-
like the Brewers wasn't involved with that, were they? It was, or maybe it was just a 2-team trade.
I'm looking.
Yeah,
Braves
look.
acquired. Here it is. This happened back in it was December. It feels like yesterday. Mariners and Braves agreed to trade on
Okay.
Sunday evening. It's Kelenic heads to Atlanta. Braves also acquired Marco Gonzalez and Evan White because it was a total salary dump. I remember this. Seattle got right-handed pitchers Jackson Kowar and Cole Phillips. Salary dump for the Mariners. Yep, exactly. Blah 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 blah.
And
Gonzalez got flipped to, was it Pittsburgh?
Yes, he pitched for the Pirates, and he's like number 2 or 3 in all of baseball in double plays.
Yeah, he got flipped to Pittsburgh, and then White. I don't know where White is. I don't know if I think he got flipped too.
I don't know.
Let's find out where he's playing baseball.
Just to put it in perspective, guys.
Was he in the Red Sox deal with Sale?
Evan White. Wait, is this the right guy? Did I just type in the wrong name like an asshole? Hold on, Juice, go ahead. I'm
No,
knee deep in
tonight,
draft.
Jared Kelenick's batting 8th for the Braves. Miles Mastrobuoni is batting 8th for the Cubs. Like, I mean, that's how different this lineup is in comparison. And I know we're hurt. It's not normal for this to happen, but
Well, hey,
I mean-
hey, Juice. On that same note,
Fair.
I mean, look at this guy right now that's slinging it for him. What is he
Yeah.
like? Their number 3, 4.
right.
You got Chris Sale
It's found money.
as your 3 or 4. It's crazy.
Yeah,
man.
Imagine
Chris
if they
Sale's
were
been
healthy.
nasty too.
Yeah,
Imagine
he's
if they
figured
were
it out
healthy.
this year. Yeah,
Because Strider's hurt. He's done for the year.
yeah.
Yeah. Don't remind me.
And
My
even
fantasy team hurts for that one.
who's the guy that throws tomorrow? Charlie Morton. I mean, he's
Yeah,
their
the
number.
ageless wonder. That dude's
They-
aged like fine wine.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, that team's they're just stacked. And they have all these guys signed for like 4 or 5 years, right?
I think
They're
I
all
think-
under contract for.
Didn't they
forever.
extend Chris Sale as soon as they got him?
I think they did. To Spotrac we go.
It's crazy.
I got you. I will give you all the numbers. Or there's the Atlanta Braves. Had to find them. It took it.
Where's the other? They have another catcher.
Who, the Braves?
Sean Murphy?
Yeah, what happened to him?
He got
He's
hurt. He got hurt early,
Oh, well,
and it's
yeah.
crazy. It's like as soon as he got hurt, Darno, like his first game, like playing,
Been a monster.
he had like the 2-homer night.
Yeah, he's been a monster.
Yeah,
Yeah, so you got what was I looking up? Oh, Sale. So Sale this year. Is he not getting paid this year?
the Red Sox paying him?
They might be. Yeah, I think the Red Sox are paying his salary this year, which is
Ouch.
because the Braves are on the hook for $0 for Chris Sale this year. But yeah, you got a 2-year extension. It's $22 million next year, and then it's a club option for $18 million the following year. Yeah, crazy.
That's crazy.
You know what's even crazier? You want to know how much money Spencer Strider is going to make next season?
It's probably nothing.
$4 million.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know what he's
But
making this year? Know what he's making this year?
$2
What's
million.
$1 million.
That goes just, but like, what he sign like an $80 million contract?
Oh yeah, it's heavily backloaded. Then
How cra-
in 2026 he starts making 20, 22, 22, and then 22.
I was
for
talking.
like
So
4
I was
years.
talking to somebody. It was like last week or something about Spencer Strider in general, because we were talking about pitchers and we were talking about like guys getting paid and their contracts and stuff. And it just goes to show that, like, as far as guys, that want to bet on themselves and guys that are just like, screw it, I'm going to take like the 80, like Strider taking the 80 million because the potential of getting hurt.
It's guaranteed money, baby. That's the
It's
beauty of
crazy.
baseball.
Yeah, it's crazy. What else is crazy? Speaking of pitchers, is I must have missed something, but Jameson Taillon has given up 7 runs, but only 2 of them earned because his ERA is still 1.61.
Should they move that at the end of the game? When the
They
line's
changed.
fine?
Okay, I didn't know if it changed like during the game, but that's crazy.
He's been good. He was due for a clunker too.
Yeah,
He
I was about
was
to
due
say
for a
he's
clunker.
yeah, and I mean if it's gonna happen, Braves lineup, why not?
Yeah,
You know, just like
Uh,
last night, just like last night. The most frustrating thing about last night was like giving up 2 runs to the Braves is like it's basically like a shutout.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, you got to win that. You got to find a way to
you've gotta
Schroeder
find a
was
way.
good. I mean,
Shut-
even Hayden for giving up the 2 wins was good.
Was
Like-
still good, yeah.
Quick question from the comment section here. Brandon B says, back for another point. Give me Kurt Casale at this point at catcher. And then he also follows up with saying PCA is still not ready for MLB. Your guys' thoughts?
I think PCA is probably on that short list to head back to Iowa once they're healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
agree.
With the way Talkman's been swinging it, and you're hoping that Ian Happ's gonna eventually do something.
I would hope.
There just won't be enough playing time.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think
Because they're going to start once Dansby's back. You're going to see a lot of Morel, I think, at third, and probably an opportunity to, maybe push Belly to first base often. Maybe a DH Bush during those times, and then you just run, Talkman in center field for most of that.
Yeah, it's a good point. That is a very, very good point. Man, it's only the bottom of the 5th.
It would be really nice if we had like one more good bat in this lineup. I feel like they're short one good bat.
I agree.
It always feels like they're short one good bat.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, so who
Not in 16.
There-
In 16,
it-
it
Yeah,
was like
I'm
just,
16.
who
let's just
would
get a closer.
who would you get? Like, who would you replace this lineup with, like a good bat per se?
Unfortunately, the problem is that your left fielder needs to be slugging more. And
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up, Juice, because speaking of Ian Happ, and it was a thing going on. Okay, he's slumping. Yes, he is slumping, and he is the world's worst. I will say, I've been one of the ones to say like he's one of the world's worst as far as like he is a rally killer. He can be. He can be a rally killer. He's been that throughout his career. But last night, everyone was sitting there talking about, oh man, you think like Jed regrets giving him $60 million and on and on and on. And it's like, no, because his last 2 seasons, he's been last year he hit 20 plus home runs. The season before he was an all-star.
Yeah.
With that being said, we talked about this, and this is another thing we talked about in the offseason. I asked you guys, was 2022
The best version of Ian
best
Happ.
version of Ian Happ? And it might be. As fans, okay, we all have expectations. You see a guy play, they have an awesome season. Last year, you see Belly. Wow, crushed it. Okay, we expect that now. It's like you expect that player to be that guy or better, like from there on out. Nico Horner, same thing, was freaking lights out awesome last year. From now on, it's like we all expect he's got that in the tank, so he has to be that or better. Ian Happ, that last season in 22, that again, maybe the best version of Ian Happ that we ever see. Is he a guy that you throw in a trade for another bat or an arm? Is he the guy that maybe gets you over the hump of getting a big arm or a good bat? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's.
I think anything is on the table.
especially with the depth that we've all Juice, Ron, Nick. I know all you and Joey have all talked about it because you guys are the farm gurus. With all the depth that's in this organization, I mean. I just saw a while ago, Brandon just said Brennan Davis, a guy that forgotten guy that that most fans have forgotten about. With all the depth that they have that's coming,
Yeah.
Until Hap is, as long as Hap is still here, he's keeping somebody from
Out
being
of the
called up.
lineup.
Yeah.
Well, and I wrote an article at the beginning of the season saying, like, is a healthy Brennan Davis kind of a wild card for this Cubs team, because he was the top prospect for a long time
Yeah.
before this kind of revamp and overhaul of the minor league system.
Yeah.
What would that look like going forward? But Darren brings up a good point. Ian Happ does have a no trade clause in that contract. Now, granted, but here's the thing, and this is why, going back to your point, Tyler, that I think what Jed Hoyer got in those contracts for Nico and Ian was so important. Yes, he got them under contract to be here for the foreseeable future. No, he did not give them extreme length on the contracts. They were 3-year extensions. Both of those guys are in that first year of that extension. So they only have 2 more years that they're guaranteed to be with the Chicago Cubs. And really, Ian Happ, I think, is the only one, because I don't think Nico has a no-move clause. Yeah. So just to the point of, because, Juice, you brought it up as a tinfoil hat take during the offseason, does Nico make it to the end of that contract as a Chicago Cub? It's a fair question to ask. They could be potentially willing to move from an area of depth, because second base, they are incredibly deep with the names like Matt Shaw and James Triantos and potentially a Jefferson Rojas if he accelerates to the major leagues in, we'll call it 3 years. Dansby Swanson's still your shortstop in 3 years.
Let's not forget something else either. Next offseason, Juan Soto's a free agent.
Sure is. Where would you put him, though? Left field?
That's the thing. You would
find a way to figure out where Hap goes.
You'd almost have to do it, kind of a similar thing that they did with Anthony Rizzo, as far as like, hey, where would you like to go? Because I know earlier we talked about Mason Miller. There's no way in hell Ian Happ will agree to go from Chicago to Sacramento.
Same.
So you would have to that would be the kicker there, is finding a spot.
I think too, like, the Ian Happ conversation is so frustrating because he's just good enough. That, like, he ends up being. And remember going back to, like, in the winter, like Jed and Carter, when they talked about their plan, were like, we gotta just surround this ball club with, like, good players. Like, these. Not all of them are going to be like 7-8 wins.
Yeah.
Worth all of that. Ian Happ, like, consistently, even with his bad year last year, or average per se.
Yeah.
Was a 3-win player.
Yeah.
And that's like, all right, so now go into the trade market and find yourself a left fielder that's worth 3 wins. It's not easy. It's not like snap your fingers and that happens. Regardless of how he gets there differently than everybody else. It's more defense and.
I agree, Juice. I've never looked at. I think a lot of people are the same way. Like, I don't think I've ever looked at Ian Happ as like he's the guy on this team, and I don't know. I think it's just hard. It's hard for fans watching. They'll sit there and watch, and they see the $60 million contract, and they're like, "Oh, they're paying him $60 million, so he's got to be the guy." And it's like, he's not. He's not even the 3-hole guy, even though he's been put in the 3-hole like all the time. He's not a 3-hole hitter, and I think, just to your point, Juice, like he gets his numbers at the end of every year, or at least here recently, and that's it.
And for a fact there's going to be a stretch of baseball here where he's lighting the world on fire. Bat him third. He needs more at bats. That's what's so frustrating about, like, a baseball season is, like, teams go, like, in full, like, team cold. Remember that, like, 16 team, like those post World Series teams? It's like, man, those guys would hit for like a month. And you'd be like, come on. But then they would score like 30 runs in like 3 games. And you'd be like, all right, they're back. And then they would hit, and then another month of lull. And then it would seem like they always hit the month of lull in September, and then it like carried over into, throughout the postseason. But it's just weird, man. Like, I think this team, like, if you wanted to snapshot it right now and say why they're playing so bad, I think it's because they have so many injuries that so many different pressures on this team are being like asked to do more than what they're capable
Meant
of
to
doing.
do. Yeah.
Agreed. It's funny you were talking about earlier, like as far as with Hap, he's going to go on a stretch and get hot. As you were saying that, Patrick Wisdom struck out for the third time tonight, and everybody
Dude,
like
he sucks.
everybody yesterday. Oh, look at Patrick Wisdom and his numbers, and like everybody's shitting on Patrick Wisdom. It's
And
like,
dude,
because
Tyler, he's literally in there to face the lefty today.
Yeah,
and he's 0 for 3.
And he's up here, like he's sitting up here on my shelf right now, like he's watching. He's probably pissed right now, but
He's in the box on my shelf.
it's because he's that bench bat. He's that lefties only bat, and it just kills me when people get on here and they're just like, "Oh, Patrick Wisdom." People want to talk crap about Patrick Wisdom, and then they fail to look. Oh, he's only had 28 at bats. Now it's probably like closer to like 35, but it's just like, come.
He's also
Shut
the
up.
king. He's also the king of the pointless home run. Like he
Yeah,
will
garbage
homer when
time
they're up
home
like
run.
8-2, and then everyone's like, "Oh, Patrick Wisdom." It's like,
He had two of those. He had two of those at a game last year I went to against the Reds. They lost 8-5, but I think he drove in 3 of those 5 runs
Yes.
that day.
Is he on this roster by the All-Star break?
yes,
You
unfortunately,
think so?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
just because
Yeah.
he can eventually run into pointless home runs.
Yeah. It's like he had that one he had that one stretch. It was between 2 seasons. And I hate this. I hate these analogies. Not I won't say all of them, but most of them. I hate those analogies where like it may be like June. Okay, it's May 14th. I hate these analogies when people are like, since May 14th of last season, this person's been leading the league in home run. It's like those are two different, like I can't compare those two stats. And I think a lot of people got stuck in that stat of Patrick Wisdom. It was like 2 seasons ago, like from June of the previous season till June of like then, he was like top 3 in all of baseball in home runs. And it's like, okay, great. But like, that's just a misleading stat. To me, that is such a misleading stat.
To me, there's too many guys on this roster that I don't think are playoff worthy.
I can see where you're coming from. Yeah.
A lot of mid.
And at the same time, like how many players on this roster on the whole entire have playoff experience?
Right.
Dansby, Ian, Bellinger,
Horner from 18. Or
was he
20.
on 8? 20, yeah.
He was
But,
here in 20.
yeah, but this I don't even count that.
Who else?
Obviously Kyle.
I mean, I'd count Seiya just because he's played in big games in Japan.
Yeah.
I'd count that. I mean, but the rotation. I mean, Tyon pitched the Yankees missed the playoffs a year.
And I'll say, I don't know. He may have been on that Pirates team, but like they only played in the wild card game. Well, they played.
Go ahead.
I want to say they played in a series against the Reds, but I don't even know if he was on the team then or not.
Talkman, yeah.
Talkman.
Who else? I don't know. I mean, when you got a manager like Council though in the playoffs, I think that matters.
Well, going back
Something
to Ron's point, who would you guys like? Realistically, like I know, you could
Like
say,
another hitter?
Shohei Ohtani, like okay, but like realistically,
Like another hitter?
yeah,
Well, I guess it comes down to like first you have to answer the question of what position. Like, are you? I think that Morel's done well enough at third to cement that. You're not trading for anybody at short or second.
Morel's gotten better as
You're
he's
looking
played.
at the outfield. I think you're looking at left field.
Yeah, but even like It'd be really nice if there was a good catcher out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's not.
Because,
There's never a good catcher out there.
No.
Never.
We're getting no production.
And it's crazy
None.
because like earlier this season, I was sitting there talking about Amaya, just about like, man, he's batting great. He's got, it looks like they've given him a bigger role this season as far as being in more games than Yan Gomes. And it's obvious because, hey, Yan Gomes is at the, close to the, this could be his last season for all we know. And now it feels like since then, it's just been like, I think he's batting like under 190 and really hasn't. And to be honest, he struggled behind the plate here and there too. Like, I mean, that first game that we did the 999 challenge, you could argue that he lost that game for Chicago that game. And even tonight, like I know it was just one play, but like, I don't know why in the world they got this camera view right now on the umpire. But anyways.
I think a catcher we should go out and get 100% Martin Maldonado.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And what's sad, Nick, is like.
Are you saying like for his glove? Because like his bat is like.
No, it's a total joke.
No, I
It's a
know. But
joke.
like if you look in the minors, there's nobody coming.
Well,
Like, I mean, Pablo Aliendo can play.
I was about to say,
a little bit,
wasn't you high on Pablo Aliendo?
He's not ready. He's just not ready. He's hitting pretty well.
Yeah.
Juice. Can't hear you.
Yeah, I remember.
Happens when I move.
You're good. Yeah, I remember you were like, it may have been like the off season before last. Like I remember you being really high on Aliendo.
And I still am. Catchers seem to take so much longer to be ready
Yeah.
than
I agree.
any other position.
Well, look at Amaya.
Mm-hmm. Would be, and he's not great, but he's better than any of the options we have here. Remember, we were so in on Christian Vasquez that offseason.
Yeah.
That would have solved a lot of issues right now.
The only problem is he with Minnesota. Well,
Minnesota.
he's with Minnesota, but I think they got another guy that took over as the everyday starter. I don't think Christian Vasquez is the everyday starter anymore.
Interesting.
Which means I don't know if that means that the other guy, I can't think of his name, is doing, just doing awesome, or if maybe Christian Vasquez kind of like played his way out of the spot. But
Well, he's hitting 179 right now. So
there you go. That'll explain it.
It's definitely out.
What
But he'd be
about
the highest batting average on our catching staff? I bet.
What about not last season, but was it last season? Oh God. Nope, we're good. Okay. How's Yandy Diaz doing for the Rockies? Wasn't he like the MVP of the All-Star game like last year or the season before? I know he's not the great defensively, but I don't know. I mean, I don't see. To be honest, I don't see it happening. But
Who are we looking for?
was it No, was it Yandy? Who's the catcher for the Rockies? Yandy or something Diaz?
Alessi's Diaz.
That might be it.
Elias Diaz.
He was like the MVP in the All-Star, but that's the only reason I can remember was because he was the MVP that year in the All-Star game. But like,
He's in 301. It's a target.
not bad.
That's a target. What's his slug? Honestly, catching it would go a long way on this roster.
Yeah.
He's worth a win already.
Hey,
And
he's worth the only Rockies win they've had this season.
771 OPS.
Not bad. Not
And
bad.
OPS plus of 111.
Not bad. I mean, yes, he does play in Colorado, but
Yeah.
it's okay. It's okay.
I mean,
All
we're,
right.
we're looking for like double the output of what
I was
we
about to
have
say,
here,
there's- yeah.
which is
And
next
I say
to
your
nothing.
options, it's like the options are slim.
Catching's tough too. Like in the middle
Another
of the
team.
season,
Yeah. I was going to say
Just
another. Yeah.
running
I
a
know.
pitching staff.
Yeah. You're right. I think that's what you remember when we all thought Wilson Contreras was going to get traded, and that's what a lot of us were sitting here talking about, how like that was one of the things probably that would keep him from getting, because like just the idea of learning a new rotation in the middle of the season. Crap, who was I going to my mind's gone blank. I had another person.
I wouldn't mind this, but I don't think the Braves are going to trade from depth.
Yeah, I don't think they trade.
Oh, I know who we were talking.
Catcher.
Damn. I didn't know it was going to storm tonight.
Yeah, it's pouring here in the back.
Blue Jays, Alejandro Kirk.
And that
Ooh.
ball is caught.
Yeah, it was scary.
Alejandro Kirk?
Him, and they've got another guy too. Who's their other kid? They've got two good catchers.
Yeah, Jensen?
Got glasses?
Jensen?
Maybe I can't remember.
I think it's Jensen.
I think it is.
But if they're a
Jensen,
team that decides to say, screw it, we're going to blow things up because it's just not what we thought.
Danny Jensen. I thought so.
Yeah. There you go.
They'd probably trade Kirk before because Jensen's younger and Kirk's been awful.
Gotcha.
188.
Oof.
Batting 188. And no slug. He only has one homer.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, then you're talking about somewhere in the outfield, like you said earlier, Nick, where you can move Belly to Belly to first after that. So I mean, you're looking at center. You know, I mean, and good luck finding. I mean, most of those guys who are playing center are not. I mean, some of them are power hitters, but a lot of them are just not the power you're looking for.
It might not be an exciting unless there's a world where we see Cody Bellinger stick to center, Michael Busch at first,
Then you move
Christopher
for a
Morel.
DH.
Christopher Morel at third, and you trade for Peter Alonso.
Dude, they may just have to do it
Yeah.
because that may be the only option.
But the
that they
kicker is they say, "Hey, we want PCA back."
I do it, and then I sign. Alonso long term.
And then I wouldn't hate that if you extended him because no matter what Bellinger.
40 bombs.
I don't see Bellinger having the same season he had last year. He's coming. I think that contract he has right now is basically a 2-year deal. He's coming back next year, and so you at least have Belly in center for 2 years, and you have Pete Alonso as your DH, and yeah, maybe that's what they end up doing. Brandon makes a good point. Same guy that Ron was like just screaming for all offseason, Bo Naylor. Or no, Josh Naylor. Bo Naylor is his brother, right? Get both the Naylor brother. Get them both.
Oh, that would be insane.
I don't think Cleveland's. I think Cleveland's going to win that division.
I agree.
Yeah, I think Cleveland's
going to
win.
sneak their way. Like everyone's going to probably be hollering for Emmanuel Clase, and I don't think he's going to go anywhere either. As far as closing pitchers, because I really like Camilo Duvall, but I don't think the Giants are going to. I think the Giants think that they have a chance to make the playoffs with their pitching staff, even though I don't think they will. But
I'm going to keep hitting the table for Hunter Harvey
from the Nationals,
from the Nationals.
yeah,
Got a K rate of like
The thing with it,
Great.
which I could see the Nationals doing that because he's a bullpen arm. Then I also, depending on who knows, the Nationals may be like the Pirates of last season where they had like that pretty good start for the first half and then kind of died out. But like, good for the Nationals though. You know what I mean? Like, good for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see him getting rid of a bullpen guy like Harvey. I can even see the Cubs hollering back for former friend. Crap, why's my mind gone blank? Righty. He's pitched for everybody, pitched for the Yankees. Used to be there. He was the closer for a second. Not Daniel.
Former Cub?
Former Cub. I think he's on the
Robertson?
Dave Robertson. Yeah.
Dave Robertson.
David Robertson.
I wouldn't hate Dave back. I don't even know how he's doing this year.
Oddly,
He's in
wouldn't leave
Texas.
At this point
He's in
either.
Texas.
Yeah, he ain't
That's
going
right.
Anywhere.
He's in Texas. Yeah, he ain't going
Yeah,
nowhere.
he's not going nowhere.
He's their eighth inning guy.
For some
I know
reason, I
it's-
thought
I know it's bad. He's old, but I wouldn't mind Sal Perez.
Yeah, but the Royals
Yeah,
have been painfully
not-
competitive.
yeah,
That's the problem. Is like every quality player that exists in this earth is on a good baseball
It's
team,
on a competitive team. yeah,
Perez,
exactly.
it don't even matter.
and it's so early in the season. Like
the
nobody's
Royals
trading anybody right now.
The Royals could be 6-31 right now. Perez will be a Royal for his career.
Yeah, I don't think Perez
Probably.
is going anywhere.
don't.
Yeah,
As much as
He's
I would
having
love,
a good year, though, isn't he?
he is. He's bat. I know
He's
he's
having
batting
a
around
really good
300. Yeah, he's doing really good.
I thought so.
Did you guys address the comment from Brandon a little bit earlier? Sorry, I'm getting
About?
back into the thing about the council impact.
No.
No, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Brandon B says he doesn't see the Craig council impact.
I think a lot of times that here lately that's gotten brought up. Oh, because he's like done the bullpen's been crap and blah blah blah. And it's like I'm pretty sure Ron, you talked about it on your show Sunday.
Yep.
What do you expect?
If I
Like,
hand
what do
you
you
a pile of shit, what
Yeah.
are you gonna do with it?
Exactly. What do you expect him to do? Like,
It's the giant douche versus the turd sandwich.
so like all these guys that are calling for Craig's head, it's like, what do you want him to do?
And now Brandon's
That's
not
great,
calling for
Juice.
his head in this instance, but is asking that
Yeah,
about
I'm
the-
not
the
saying that
Craig
Brandon's
impact.
saying that. I just
No.
we've all
We-
seen it. We've all seen it on X. There's been
Yeah.
guys and girls
Oh,
out there just saying
There's
that.
been a
It's
lot
like,
of them. But there are people, and Brandon follows up says, but Ross was doing the same thing. I think if Ross is managing this team with all the injuries, their record is at best an inverse of what it is right now, 18-20.
I can see that. Yeah, I
yeah.
can see that. And Ian Happ is batting third every day.
100%.
And
But think about it. Look at last year's team. What was the biggest thing they had overcome? They missed Bellinger for what, a month early in the season,
Yeah,
and then they missed Seau for a little bit. But Seau wasn't as important a piece of a lineup last year, if you really think about it, as he is this year. Because a lot of people were still wondering, like, what is he? What is he going to be? Like,
because Saya really wasn't a 2-hole guy at all
No.
last year, was he? He's like 5
No.
or 6, right?
right? So, but we saw what happens when this lineup is in full command. And
Yep.
I would almost argue, crazy as it is, like I almost feel like the bullpen last year was better, dare I say, than it has been so far.
Definitely
this season.
healthier.
Definitely healthier.
Yeah. You had a guy. I mean, you had Adbert doing what he was doing last year, and then you look at this season, and yeah, you can make a good point about that. Yeah, you can make a good point.
So
on that.
I mean, again, this team's winning ball games. I think that's the thing. Like, yes, are they going to lose tonight? 100%. If they win tomorrow and they salvage the series, they're 25-19.
I love that comment. Yeah,
Single hit for the next 3 games.
it's true.
I mean, not to
It is true.
not
It is
to
true.
not to go off top.
That's a
Not,
funny.
kind of like to go on with our point as far as like what we're. I mean, they may lose tonight, but I just watched a commercial with Corbin Carroll, and it's like at least our superstar player is not like a shell of, you know what I mean? Like at least we don't have that on this team. Like at least
Yeah.
Saya's not, and no, not to throw shade to our guy Brandon, another Brandon, Brian. My bad, Brian. Not to throw shade at you, Brian, and your Diamondbacks, but like at least the Cubs don't have so far. I mean,
A Corbin
think,
Carroll problem.
at least you don't have a problem in the sense that like you're a guy that your lineup like revolves around is like a shell of what he is or what he was last season.
My
You know what I mean?
fantasy teams are suffering as a result, Tyler.
So at least
I totally get it.
there's not that, and at least the problem is more of a, and I say problem, but like at least Tyson Miller's in. At least it seems more of a health issue.
It is a health issue.
Which sucks, which still sucks.
Yeah. And it's a bullpen issue too, though. And like here, I think here's the biggest thing about this Cubs team when it comes down to it. Like Jed said it beautifully on the radio today, Juice, in the interview that you sent all of us that he did with
that was a good interview, but that was interesting.
Bullpen, the ML of any position in sports, Major League Baseball bullpen pitching might be the most volatile thing in sports.
Yeah.
That's why, and I said this on Sunday's show. MLB, that's why the best MLB relievers get paid so much money.
Yep.
Because it's so hard to find a guy that can consistently year in and year out be that dude.
Yeah.
It's so hard to find out of the bullpen. It's different from a starting perspective because a starting perspective, you get in a rhythm. Those guys are they're meant to be there. The bullpen guys are like kind of the next best guys that didn't make it as starters that can thrive coming out cold on one end. Like it's a different beast coming out of a game or coming into a game as a bullpen arm than it is a starter.
Yeah.
There is a full-blown reason that Josh Hader, after 2 years of, still not being what he was in Milwaukee, like he was still good, but he wasn't the same Josh Hader, got $19.5 million for 5 years and a no trade clause from the Houston Nationals.
I agree. And you know what you call those relief pitchers that are consistent like that all the freaking time? Like what you're talking about. A, they end up becoming closers, and B, they end up being Hall of Famers.
Facts. It's a hard job.
Yeah.
So that's the thing about bullpen. And look at this Cubs team over the last 3 to 4 seasons now. Think back to the beginning of 2021. How many variations of this bullpen have we seen over those 4 seasons?
Wow.
8.5.
I know Juice has like that. Juice has this like in the offseason, he always has that like the plan book. He could do a book or hell, you could do a freaking plot graph of all the different bullpens this team's had since 21.
Plot graph, shit. You could do a freaking Rolodex of all the
like
names
an ancestry tree.
Yeah. It's because it's the most volatile position in sports. Period. The next closest is NHL goaltending right now. It's volatile. It's incredibly volatile. And that's why if you can find guys that get the job done, you're better off. And that's why a lot of teams don't want to pay for bullpen pitching.
Yeah.
Because it is so volatile. Look at Craig Kimbrell. Remember everybody being excited they signed him and then he sucked for a whole half a year? And everybody's like,
Chicago,
what are we doing? Why did we sign this guy for so much money? Yet they're the same people that were sitting there fucking pining them to sign him in the first place.
Yeah.
Like my mental thought process on bullpen pitching in MLB is if you don't understand the volatility of it, don't sit here and be hypocritical about it.
Yeah, I think too, you have to know what you're dealing with in terms of organizational philosophy. When have the Cubs paid prime dollar for a bullpen in their history and had it work?
Once. Craig. Because in 2021, Craig was really good and they shipped him off.
But even Craig, like,
wow.
he didn't make like outrageous money. I mean, I think if you're going to talk about anybody who they paid more that never, like it'd be Brennan Morrow before.
Oh God,
Brennan Morrow. Don't say that name.
What could have been?
What? Didn't he get hurt putting his pants on?
He got hurt.
I
tell you what hurt him was the 2017 World Series. That's what hurt him.
True.
The Dodgers,
they trotted him out there, but because
they
knew
destroyed his.
They knew he was a contract year, and they let him leave.
It's the same thing that I mean, you could argue it's the same thing that Chicago did with Aroldis Chapman. It just worked.
100%.
It just worked for
Yep.
Chicago.
That's what I was thinking.
Now he's posting
Gleyber-
videos of inappropriately
Gleyber
touching
Torres
his mommy.
was worth every single second of that. Brandon, to quickly answer your question, Michael Fulmer is on IL recovering from Tommy John. He is
Yeah.
not going to pitch
Arms
this year.
off.
Trust me, I would have loved to have seen Michael
I
Fulmer
would
back
kill
when
Yeah.
for
he
Michael.
was healthy.
I would kill for
I miss
last
him
year's
so
Michael
much.
Fulmer right now. Kill for
Absolutely
Michael
would
Fulmer.
love Michael Fulmer.
And,
that's
and
what I
what's
said.
crazy, and what's crazy, Ron, to like even further add on to your point is like there was times last season we were screaming at Fulmer like he sucks, he's sucking ass right now, blah blah blah, and then he has an outing against the Braves, and then
And
turns
the
around and
White
has that
Sox.
badass outing against the White Sox, and then we're all just
Mhm.
like Fulmer's back, like. It's crazy. It's just crazy. Like us sitting here saying, like, I would kill for Fulmer from last season when, like,
No, Brandon, he is with
He's with
where did he
nobody.
sign? Minnesota? No. He signed a 2-year deal with somebody.
Oh, he did? I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
he did.
was it Milwaukee?
I think it was with nobody.
No, he's signed with someone. I'm 99% certain. Did he sign the Boston Red Sox? I think
Oh,
that's what it
yes.
was.
Because that's
He signed a 2-year deal with the Red Sox so he can
the Breslow
recover
guy.
and then he'll pitch next year. I bet you he was a Breslow guy. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Red Sox, Michael Fulmer agreed to a minor league deal as of February 8th of this year. Yeah. So he signed a 2-year minor league deal. So they're giving him
Yeah.
the year to rehab in Boston, and then he's going to pitch next
Kind of similar to did the Brewers do that with Woodruff?
They did. And the Chicago Cubs initially did that with Drew Smiley before he
Brad
was traded,
Wick.
before he could debut.
Gotcha.
And Brad Wick, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Brad Wick was the same way. Absolutely.
Which I think brings us to a good conversation.
Let's do it.
I think one of those things that we can kind of go around the horn here because we're in a 7-0 ball game here.
Garbage time, baby.
Yeah, I feel like Jed and Boog here in the booth. If you had to like explain to somebody who doesn't know the Cubs but knows baseball, doesn't watch the Cubs often, maybe watches the AL, has their team in the AL, what would you say is like the Cubs' philosophy in terms of buying, trading, and like getting rid of players? So like their overall approach to like roster building almost. Because I think it's interesting to like round that out because I think that that's how you actually can predict what they'll do at deadlines in free agency in the future with this team. Because this is what I think it is. I think that they are very confident in their pitching infrastructure. That they do not spend huge dollar amounts on the bullpen. I think that they have flipped from position players to scouting better for starting pitching. But then if you look in the minor league system, there are a lot of position players that they still hit pretty often.
Yeah.
And then in terms of like going into free agency, I think that they're extremely aggressive with that middle tier. Like they do whatever they can to be in the talk about the top, and they will. Like they're going to give an offer, but they know that like once those come off the board, they value 2 or 3 middle tier guys opposed to one superstar.
Yes.
Which in some ways like is good, but I mean, you look at this lineup and it's like we're hoping Seiya Suzuki becomes a superstar, but then after that, it's like Bellinger's a very good player. Don't get me wrong, but he has his flaws. He's not like the top, 10, 15 in the league.
Yeah.
So
Well, and
that's
Juice
how
on
I
that-
kind of.
And on that front, I would almost argue the fact that they target that middle tier so well because that's how they got Shota.
Yeah, no, it's not a knock. It's just more or less like.
No,
you
I
have to
agree. I'm just saying.
understand-
Like I think it's the case of like they target that middle tier in terms of. I can't believe he was fucking safe on that play.
Yeah, I can't either. That's not, yeah. I was waiting for him to challenge it.
Like I can't believe they hit on Shota the way they did with a 4-year, $53 million guaranteed contract that can be 5 to 80, which is still a steal for what Shota has produced this year. Like, yes, he's an older player, he's a veteran. that he's going to be 35 when that contract's done if he gets to the 5th year. But like the Cubs, to answer your question, Juice, the Cubs to me are the we build from within and we wait on what we want to do mindset. Is they want to draft well, which I think they have so far under the Jed Hoyer regime. It's a very different regime than it was under Theo. Like it's very much night and day, in my opinion, between the two.
I agree.
But it was right. Hit on the position players, go pay for pitching. Now it's develop pitching, use that pitching as an asset, whether that becomes via trade down the road, whether that's, just getting guys to the majors and not having to pay big dollars for pitching. I mean, Kyle Hendricks is your highest paid pitcher on the staff this season at 16, or pardon me, it's Jameson Taillon at $18 million. You don't have a pitcher over $20 million. And there's pitchers around the league that are getting paid in the 30s. So that's effectively a win in a lot of ways, right? And then they go out and they pay for the position players that they feel like they need, because that part of the process to me is still coming along. Because if you really look at it, outside of James Triantos and Cade Horton, a lot of those top guys they acquired via trade.
Well, yeah.
Their pipeline. Right?
Yeah.
The Kevin Alcantaras, the PCAs.
That are hitting.
That are hitting, right. That's what I mean.
Okay.
In terms of hitters. Like, a lot of their hitters.
Yeah, they've drafted Pitt. That's been their philosophy, I think. I think they're moving.
Yes.
It's a nice transition because I did my first look at the draft. I think this is the year that they picked the position player with their top pick.
And I agree with. And in fairness, they picked the position player with their top pick last year, Matt Shaw, as well.
Yeah.
So, like, they're not afraid to do it, but, like, every single year we sit here and look at their 20-round, pool at the end of the day, and it's 12, 15, the 1 year. Yeah, the 1 year was 15 pitchers out of the 20
That was last year, right? They pitched.
I think it was, it was either last year or 2 years ago. It was one of the last 2 years.
Yeah, they went pitching.
They did a lot of pitching. Yeah, they did a lot of pitching. I think this past year wasn't as bad because they took Pasiola in the 3rd this past year. He's down in Myrtle Beach playing some meaningful playing time down there.
Maybe it was the year before, though.
It was the year before. The year before they took Cade, then they took
they didn't take it. And then they traded Jackson Ferris. And then they went on a run. I don't think they took their first position player until like the 8th or 9th round of that draft. That draft was crazy. But again, I think they are very much like we build from within. We will spend what we want to spend, and if a player agrees to that, we'll do it. But they're trying to, how do I put this? They're trying to. No, they're always trying to give themselves the flexibility to get out of something bad when it goes bad.
Yep.
That's what it is. They always have a fail safe. That's what it is. Because they don't. Yes. Honest to God, that's exactly what it is. It's the PTSD of the Jason Heyward contract is what shakes.
Which is what keeps them from getting a big time splash.
But they gotta get over
that. I would make the argument though. I would make the argument though that Jason Heyward at that time was a move that was more calculated for the sense of a team ready to win now than it was for him being the big splash free agent. Because yes, he was a good player and he was the best available free agent that year, but he wasn't a true superstar. He wasn't Shohei Ohtani or Juan Soto or one of those players. He was never that. Even if you look at the stats, he was never that player. He was just a really, really, really good player that fit an absolute need that they had because right field was a gong show with Jorge Soler defensively. They needed a top guy out there with some veteran leadership because they were a super young team, and they went after it. They did it. And I'll tell you what, if you told me that they would get the World Series again, I would tell them to go pay that money. Yeah, it's fine.
Especially after 2 series in, you lose a guy like Kyle Schwarber.
Yes. But so I think that's where it is right now is the sense of like, now they're like, hey, we'll go take the calculation. I think they truly made a good run at Shohei. It's just nobody was going to beat the Dodgers in that sweepstakes. The whole time, the Dodgers were the favorite for good reason because he wanted to stay in LA and he wanted to get paid. And there's no better place to go than the LA Dodgers. Now, if you look at like Sasaki coming out of Japan next year, I think the Cubs are very much very much in play for that next year. I think even in the Juan Soto conversation, I think if they could make the dollars work and positionally it made sense, I think they would be in play for that type of move. What a catch by PCA.
That was a great catch. Hey,
Like,
let me
that's where
ask
I
you
think
something
they're
then
at.
about that. Because you brought up Juan Soto and Juice to kind of go on with, you were talking about they need to get over the whole getting out of the
Hayward contract.
getting out of like those the little catch fall contracts and stuff like that. Okay. Could you, which I would love it if they went after a guy like Juan Soto. At the end of the day, I still think, I just think New York's going to end up like, giving them the whole entire bank of New York and just
Sure.
this and that. But let's just say, there was a chance for the Cubs to go after Juan Soto. Could you guys see the Cubs more doing as far as going after a guy like Juan Soto, what you pretty much have in Juan Soto? Yeah, it's going to cost you $500 million. Or could you see them being like, and I don't even know who
Do you think it actually costs $500 million to get Soto? Honest question.
He's going to want. He has Scott Boras as his agent, and Scott Boras is pissed that he doesn't have the client with the top contract. He is going to ask for that shit. The highest ever.
I agree.
In the history of baseball.
And he's going to, yeah. Could you guys see them making a move towards Juan Soto as far as a $500+ million deal? Or, and like I said, I don't know who you would do that on this roster right now, doing we're not going to do that, but we're going to give one of our young guys a nice 5-6 year contract, and we're going to keep him here, blah blah blah. He's kind of like what the Brewers did with their rookie they had last year. You know what I mean?
Sure,
I could see the Cubs doing something more on that side than going after a guy like Juan Soto. Kind of like with Juice, what you said, and kind of Ron, with the Hayward contract.
But who are they doing that with?
Exactly. I don't know who they do that with. But
you know who I'd make the argument they could do that with, but he has to get time this year at the major league level? Owen Casey.
Yeah, Owen Casey. Yeah, I agree with you, Ron, 100%.
To me, that's the guy because he's shown incredible prowess.
Could you see that though? Would you be like more like, if you had to bet on one or the other, would you bet more on them extending a guy like an Owen Casey, or hey, let's give the bank to Juan Soto?
I think they're on the train of they want the surefire bet.
Yep.
Which in this case, in this example that you're giving, Tyler, it's Juan Soto.
For sure.
Like he's shown he's a almost 300 hitter, and he'll hit a bunch of bombs and he'll walk a lot, and his OPS is going to, or his OBP is going to be like video game numbers.
Oh, he's a
That's
Hall of
what
Famer.
he is. Yeah. I think they would be more inclined to do that. And again, I think they gave a legitimate offer to Ohtani. I truly do. It just, he was going to LA because the Dodgers were going to pay him whatever it took because of that market. So I would make the argument they're going to be right back in that with Soto if they really want Soto. Like if they're like, yes, we need Juan Soto. He's a part of this future. He's young. We want him. He's great. Whatever it takes. I think they'll do it. I think the Cubs are aggressive.
He's left field, right?
Left, right. He's a corner outfielder. He plays right currently for the Yankees. But to me, the Cubs are calculated with when they get aggressive. And it has to be a player like Juan Soto or Ohtani that they get aggressive with. And it might not work in their favor. It doesn't mean they didn't get aggressive. Yeah. Like I fully believe that the Cubs got in on the Ohtani sweepstakes and actually gave it a run.
That just means in September, when the Yankees come to town, everyone in the bleachers, guys, be on your best behavior. If Juan Soto's in left or he's in right,
he'll be in right.
Respectful.
Right field sucks. They don't heckle people. He'll be just fine.
Okay.
I'm going to say this, though.
Verdugo left's going to get it.
Oh, he's going to get it bad.
I've
actually looked at those tickets today. I don't know.
Whoever they target to be the guy that they're going to go after next offseason is, in my opinion, becoming the redemption Bryce Harper contract. Like
I hope so. I hope you're right, Juice. I hope you're so right.
there should be no excuse, because at that point you're looking at a farm system that's another year matured, a team that is, on the cusp and ready to cement themselves as a division every year. And if you think that Juan Soto is that missing piece, it better be the redemption to the Bryce Harper contract during COVID.
I
better
hope so.
be.
I really do.
Because if it's not, then
What are we doing?
I mean, there comes a point where you need to understand that putting him in the middle of this lineup only makes people around him better.
Yeah.
And
100%.
that's why I look at this lineup. I'm like, I love Seiya Suzuki. I think he's a great player. I love Cody Bellinger. I think he's a good player. I like Dansby Swanson. But you know what? When the Braves won their World Series, Dansby Swanson hit like 8th.
Yeah, he was their 8-hole hitter.
I think he was 6, but same.
It's just
If he's not hitting 3 through 5, he's not like one of your top tier guys.
Yeah.
That's how I say, or 2 through 5.
he's a defensive player that runs into one every once in a while. That's just what he is.
Like you could even argue, like on a World Series team, is Christopher Morel your 4-hitter?
I mean, I think he's
maybe
the
it's too
wild
soon.
card.
Maybe I say maybe it's too soon. It's too soon to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's
I
too
think
soon to
he's the
tell.
wild card in all of this.
But
He would be the one that if you're going to throw an extension out,
he would be the one. Yeah,
100%
Yeah.
comfortable with it.
There
especially
you
depending
go.
on how the
I
rest of this.
like that a lot.
I do
Yeah.
too.
Because to
And-
me, his bat speed's so elite, and his grasping at the position of third base is getting so much better that I think he's just going to ascend from here.
Yeah. And he's still young enough. He's what, 25? He turns 26, I think, this season. Actually, sorry. He turned
And to
26
be honest,
on Friday.
I think he's hurt. I think he's been playing hurt most of the season.
He has.
Yes.
Yeah, he's got that finger thing. He's got a
I
bunch
think
of things he's been working.
He turns 26 on Friday, May 17th, if I remember correctly. This is my weird sick mind remembering stupid shit for no reason. Here we go. Hold on. Or sorry, he turns 25. He's still 24. He will turn 25 on Friday against the Pirates. That's his birthday, May 17th.
Nice.
So he's just going to be turning 25. A guy that arguably this season has 40 home run potential. That was my spicy pick for the preseason show. I mean, if this guy gets hot when the weather warms up here in Chicago, because we truly haven't had real warm weather yet,
No.
confirm. I'm dealing with going outside and being like, it's a little chilly out here in
Cooler near
fucking
the
May.
lake.
It is cooler near the lake. But like when we get into real like hot weather Chicago, that dude might run into like 6 in like 6 games type stuff.
He's done it.
If
I mean,
he's
he's done it
25,
before, hasn't he?
There is your I love that. When we're sitting here looking at prospects. No. Morel's your guy that
And
you
he
just
does. I would
get
say
locked
he
up
does. He
at a
does
good
that.
number.
He does that to kind of bank off of Scott from Iowa, which we've been talking about this. I think that's the first thing I talked about when I got on here as far as Bregman. He does that. The whole Bregman thing. I think I'm out on that, and I'm more on. Yeah, definitely go out after Juan Soto for sure. But then maybe instead of going after a guy like Bregman, you go after a guy like Pete Alonso.
Maybe.
Boys, pitch clock works too, by the way. 2:13 for today. That's great.
That's impressive.
That is impressive.
That also
I wish we
just
would've
goes to
scored
show
more.
how much Chris Sale said
That
it
game
down their
flew
throats
by.
today. It did fly by.
That game flew by.
Well, try to salvage it tomorrow.
Gotta salvage it tomorrow. Who's tomorrow? Charlie Morton, and who's pitching for the Cubs? TBD.
They announced it, I thought. Didn't
Did
they?
they?
No.
Assad? No.
No, it says TBD. Just
Is
so-
it Ben Brown?
No, I don't think so, right? I mean, he's bullpen now.
It might be Assad tomorrow. Hold on. Let me look. Let me see.
Did Assad, who threw Saturday was Steele.
Tomorrow is still TBD. So I don't
Who
think
was-
we're gonna know who's starting until tomorrow.
I say Friday was
I think it
Friday
could
was
be-
Assad, right?
Friday was Assad. It could be Assad tomorrow.
Is it Kyle?
Kyle threw
pitched on
Sunday.
Sunday.
That's right.
It's got to be Assad.
It's got to be Assad.
Yeah.
Who's on 5 days rest?
It'll be
Assad.
Assad.
Yeah, it'll be Assad. Yeah.
Even though, like, let's not forget that they're playing, I think, what is it, 10 straight games, 10 straight days?
Yeah.
Who, the Cubs?
Yeah.
No,
they're in a
got-
stretch.
No, they got off
They
day the
got-
20th.
They got an off.
No, I'm
day
saying
on-
like they're on a stretch right now. By the time
Oh yeah,
they're on a stretch right now where they're playing 10 straight days.
yeah.
They're still in the middle of it or what. I don't know what game it is out of the 10.
Yeah,
but-
I still think it'll be Assad.
Yeah,
My
oh, yeah,
guess,
for
it
sure.
might honestly though. You know what they might do because we haven't seen Ben Brown since he piggybacked Assad. That might be your scheduled pitchers is Assad to go maybe 5 and Ben Brown go 4.
Yeah.
and just try to conserve the bullpen on a day like, especially tomorrow, because tomorrow it's a late game. They're gonna play at 6:20 again. We'll be live afterwards, and then they're back at it 24 hours later at Wrigley on Thursday, 6:40 start. It's gonna be what, Steele versus most likely probably Steele versus Jared Jones.
It's Jared Jones.
Jared
They don't got it
Jones,
on.
yeah.
They don't have Steele announced yet, but Jared Jones, which Jared Jones is still good. I was just really
I
hoping
bet you-
to be
I
Skeens.
know. I was hoping it was going to be Skeens too, but I bet you it'll be Steele versus
I believe
Jones.
it.
Which, if that's the case,
It's still a
hell
good
of
matchup.
Hell of a pitching matchup for Thursday. So, hey man, it could happen.
And we will be there.
Well, 2 of us will be at least.
Two of us.
yes.
Hey, and I've got a gym buddy that he's going as well. Nick, have you ever heard of Blackstone Cherry, Nick?
I have not.
They are a rock band out of Kentucky. They go like, which they're popular here, but they're freaking super popular like overseas. They're fixing to go to, I believe, Europe. But you may check out Blackstone Cherry. I think you'd like him. The bass player, he'll be at the game, and I think we may meet up at Murphy's, and we all may be in the bleachers together.
What's the start on that game? Like one?
6:40.
6:40. They are 6:40 until May 31st, and then it becomes 7:05 for June, July, and August. Then they go back to 6:40 in September.
Don't be surprised
Thank
if
you.
you see your boy rolling through again.
Okay,
Thursday?
Maybe.
maybe.
All right. I say because I'll be there Thursday and I will be there Tuesday as well.
Depends a lot on the old StubHub app.
That's fair. I will be there Thursday. I will also be there Tuesday with you, Tyler. So I will see you for both of those games. It's going to be great. Jay says Skeens on Friday. I bet. Yes,
He
they've
is.
already confirmed it will be Skeens. At least the Pirates have confirmed it'll be Skeens on Friday. So jealous. If I didn't. So for those that
Too much.
may or may not know, I've got a team in my life that I very much love right now. It's the Quad City Steamwheelers. I call a game for them on Friday. So if it wasn't for that, I would be 100,000% be at the ballpark on Friday because I have tickets for it right now that I actually have to get rid of. I got to make sure I sell those and get those this week. But I'll tell you what though. Maybe I'll feel very kind on tomorrow night's show and
Why
maybe I'll
is
be willing to give
Thursday
them
so
away.
expensive?
I think
Because
because
it's-
everybody thought Skeens was throwing Thursday. Like I
Yeah.
got my ticket. I got my ticket fat like last week because I think everybody thought it was going to be Skeens and Steele again, and I guarantee you that's probably why they're like that.
I agree.
Jumped up on
100%.
Friday now too.
Everett
61
asks,
bucks for the
what
Blue.
happened to Nico again? Nico had left hamstring tightness, so that's why he was scratched prior to the start. Hopefully, it's nothing serious, but that is why Nico was not.
And if it is, be prepared, Everett, to rip off your hamstring to give to Nico. I done gave mine to Justin Steele, so well,
Yeah,
I offered mine to
Justin's-
Justin Steele.
Justin's is currently, or Tyler's is currently in storage in case.
It's already
Steele needs
claimed
it.
to Justin's. So Everett,
I don't need a hamstring. I can give mine away.
may need your
It's fine.
hammy, buddy.
I got some good hammies still, so I think we.
I'm gonna watch this market, boys, and you may see me there.
Hey man, I certainly hope so.
Watch it
it's
because-
supposed to be. It's supposed to be. Go ahead, Tyler. Sorry.
I just said what because I guarantee you come tomorrow when a lot of people realize that, which again, no knock on Jared Jones because he's a good pitcher too. I think when people realize that Skeens is not going to be the guy throwing, they'll go down. Maybe a little.
My only concern right now for Thursday is like rain is in the forecast from like 7:30 onward
Yep.
for the 6:40 start.
That's
The
also
only
why I'm
time-
kind of holding out.
The only time of the fucking day that it's supposed to rain. I mean, don't get me wrong. Worst case scenario, if it gets rained out, we're all going to Murphy's and having a great time. Still
Yeah.
not worried about that. But nonetheless,
My flight and my flight is not as early as the last
that's
one.
good.
It's
What are you
early.
back-
It's still
wait.
early, but it's not
You
as
were
early.
you were back like in Nashville by the time I woke up the last time.
Oh yeah, it'll be the same way. So next Tuesday, it'll be the same thing. I'll have to fly back at 5:45. But like the best thing is there's hardly anybody on the flight at 5:45. It's awesome.
That's true.
So you're like back forth. What are you just living on an airplane?
3 straight weeks. I'm back forth, and then I'm telling you, like, and my wife was sitting here. Me and my wife were talking about it, like these next 2 months are going to be full of baseball because then
And you're coming
that
back.
same. Well, here's the thing: the same week that they play I go to the Braves game. That weekend, I'm going to Cincinnati to see the Dodgers.
Cincinnati.
And
Okay.
then come June, that weekend, I'm going to one of the Cubs games in Cincinnati. And then next thing you know, it's the middle of June, and it's going to be Savannah Bananas and then Chicago again.
Hell yeah.
And
I
then
should
somewhere,
meet you in Cincinnati.
please do. I don't. Thursday, Friday. I know. So I can't go the Friday. The Friday game, I'm going to SmackDown. My nephew's birthday. We're going to SmackDown in Louisville. But either Thursday or Saturday, I will be at the Cubs Reds.
A lot of baseball. And thank
A lot
God
of
because
baseball,
whatever
baby.
today was means there's always a game tomorrow.
Yeah.
I call a game on that Saturday. Otherwise, I'd meet you guys in Cincinnati.
Hey, which sad note, Sunday, do you guys realize that we are now over a quarter of the way done with the regular season?
Ew, don't say that.
I know. That sucks. It's like,
man.
but yes, Sunday was game 41, I think. Game 41 of the season. It's nuts.
It is
It
nuts.
always goes so quick.
I know.
Yeah,
It
it
really
does.
It really does. Gentlemen, do you guys final thoughts before we shut down the old watch along?
Oh, I think Juice said it best earlier when he talked about Pedro Serrano. We've got to do something to these bats, man. Need some something, Jabu or something.
Need some juice.
Juice, yeah.
Some juice.
Juice is a good way to put it. We need some
Special,
juice.
special juice.
Or just to get the hell out of Atlanta.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they've had
yeah.
some late nights at the establishments out there in Atlanta. I know a lot of NBA players have a lot of trouble out there.
Oh, I'm sure. I can confirm I've been to Atlanta a couple 2-3 times, and you don't go to bed much before 4 a.m. if you go out.
It's a fun time that I'll give it to Atlanta. It's a fun time over there at the Battery, and it's a blast. It's just
Down in Atlanta.
I just want to beat those guys. Just want to beat them.
I feel that. Nick, final thoughts, buddy?
Yeah, we got to get out of Atlanta. We got to salvage this series tomorrow. I hope the bats wake up. It's painful. And the trends are, if you look at all the trend statistics, they're going down. So they got to turn things around real quick here.
100%. Juice?
I don't know. Forget this last 2 days.
Yeah.
Fair. That's fair.
Also,
Brandon?
like, just think of it this way. Each game that they stay within striking distance is one day they get closer to being healthier.
That is true.
So if you're not like Milwaukee or the Pirates, like, and running away with this division already, like, I'd be scared.
That's fair.
That's a good way to put it, Juice. I mean, like, as quote unquote as bad as it seems right now, they're still from an outside perspective. They are still they're surviving. I know tonight wasn't good, last night wasn't good, but they're still surviving. Just keep surviving.
Just keep on keeping on.
Just keep on.
A couple of final thoughts. Everett's final thought is a lot of explicitives, which is totally fair. But he also follows it up, so he's got to get a W tomorrow. Brandon chimed in. We were talking about Atlanta. He says Magic City. He also adds in that Atlanta is his new home baseball stadium that he's close to. It sucks. He says headed to Cincinnati. Hey, I have yet to get to Cincinnati, but I have been to Truist. Truist is a nice ballpark, though, if anybody has been there. Brandon also says yesterday's loss bothered me more than today's. I agree. If you're going to get
Agreed.
the doors blown off,
Yeah.
Agreed.
roll over, die, and live to see another day. When you lose 2-0
Yeah.
after a good show to start, that's when it hurts even more.
Yeah, that one's.
At the end of the day,
Well,
and
they're up 4-2 in the top of the.
Yeah.
thank you. That's exactly what I was about to look up in
To
terms
the
of the Brewers.
Pirates.
So it might be a little bit, but hey, they're still in there. Let's go Pirates, and things are looking up.
Pirates.
Pirates. Gentlemen, before we get out of here, as always, Cubs on tap. You know the drill. At Cubbies on tap on the socials, at Juice on tap, at Loose on tap, Teddy Freddy 270, Nick _ on tap, and Joey knows nothing. Can't forget about Mr. Joey.
Joey.
Hashtag
Where the hell
where's
is he?
Joey? He's
Joey.
doing other things for On Tap this evening. But be sure to follow all of us. Follow at Silent Bob _2. Bobby Foster's killing it on the writing side of the house. And you will see him on these airwaves sooner rather than later before the season is done. As always, follow us. Follow all the other coverage teams as well. OnTapSportsNet.com, at OnTapSportsNet on the socials. The OnTap Sports Network. Go check out what's on tap in Chicago sports. Just like we appreciate, Brandon appreciates us. He says we made his day bearable. He goes, and we got Caleb William highlights, which is true.
We do. There were dots.
Bear down. Yeah, bear down.
Dots were being thrown.
Bear down. Go Bears. We love that.
In shorts.
Shit.
So good. We're so good in
Hey.
shorts.
It's okay. We at least got something to look forward to, though, as Bears fans, for those that are Bears fans here
Indeed.
coming up this season. But, gentlemen, this was a blast, as always. What do you guys say? We got to hear the only way we know how it comes on tap?
Scott, you know exactly how to piss me off on the way out.
FTC.
Oh, FTC, FTB, and let's go Cubbies, boys.